Today is February 27th. Thank God it's pod day, and finally we have a name. After being untitled for many, many weeks, welcome to episode 0 of Can't Stop Playing. Today I'm joined by the regular cast and crew, starting off with the man who seems to run into the law every single week, Gabe.
Yeah, that's becoming, like, that's really a thing now. Let's see what the cops come over for next week. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of a, you're building like a really bad tradition there. You should probably cut that out. So what went on this week? Last week it was the iPhone run-in, which, by the way, like, you were totally innocent. There was no foul play at all.
Yeah,
no matter what.
I was, and like people would say something like, "Oh, what you did was wrong. Like, no matter what, like you should have given that."
Don't smile as you're saying that.
Well,
I'm not making it bad. People were saying that I was.
All right, well, cause like they're like, "Oh, you should have given the little girl her iPhone." I'm like, dude, I don't have it. Like, I don't know where it is. I don't know who has it. Like, I am completely out of this, and that was my whole thing. And as soon as I explained it, like people backed off, and I just wanted to be like, "Man, how are you gonna attack me?" And then I explain myself, and then be like, "Oh, I was joking." Like
this week.
Oh, well, all right. A couple nights ago, we were sleeping, and I woke up. I was like, man, it's like 2 a.m. I'm not sleeping anymore. I'm gonna go record some games. Started rendering a video, and then I started watching The Walking Dead. I started watching The Walking Dead for that week, which whatever. All right, so I'm watching it, right, and then I hear a car alarm, and I think it's in the show. So I mute the TV. And the car alarm's still going off. I'm like, oh crap, like that's outside. I run outside, like we have surveillance cameras, but my first instinct is not to check them. I just run outside, try to see what's going on. And
no weapons, no armor, no preparation.
This right here's my weapon. No, I'm joking.
Look at that.
That would be his fist, by the way.
Yeah. Well, my whole arm.
Your whole arm, just gonna do a little forearm.
Yeah, just whatever.
That wouldn't work so well for me. I've got like a 2-inch.
Yeah, no, my arm is actually like pretty huge, like not huge as in muscle structure, but whatever.
Just using it like a baseball bat.
All right,
you need to get one of those like foam infinity gauntlets and just walk out there with that and just hold your arm.
That's so amazing.
All right, so you walk out there, you see.
Right. Well, I go to the car door and I see that someone tried to open it, right? Like when your car's locked and you try to open it, like there's a gap that's there, like someone tried to force it open. So I'm like, oh man. Like, the alarm's still going off like crazy. I didn't bring the key with me to turn it off.
Your car?
Huh?
Your car?
Yeah, our car, yeah.
Well, it must have been the girl. She's come back for revenge.
That's what I said. The iPhone girl's like, give me my phone.
Yeah, that's what Zach said. So, like, I sort of run to the street. Like, all this is happening, like, in, like, a minute. So, I run to the street, see if I can see, like, where this guy went to, and I'm looking. I don't see anything. At that point, my wife comes out. My little brother was here too. He comes out. They're like, "Oh, what's happening? What's happening?" I'm like, "Somebody just tried to break into the truck." They're like, "Go check the cameras." I'm like, "No, you go check the cameras. I'm gonna stay out here, see if I can find anyone." I'm looking. I don't find anyone. I go back inside. We bring back the cameras, and yeah, dude, like sure enough, like it clearly shows some dude just comes up. He looks like on the back bed of the truck. I don't know what people call it in other places, but whatever. They look in the bed of the truck and like. I don't know what they see, but it entices them to somehow try to open the truck. And he pulls it, like, hard, and the alarm just instantly goes off, and the dude just, like, dips out, like, in the most, like, stupid criminal way. Like, his run is hilarious. Would it be legal for me to, like, take the surveillance video and put it here, like, next to us?
No, let's not do that. Come on, we're just getting this thing started. It's episode 0.
That'd be so amazing. All right, no, yeah, but he runs away in a very funny manner.
What do you mean by a very funny? Like he's waddling or he's?
Yeah, like he's obviously like on drugs / drunk or something, and he just waddles away. His pants are falling. Like the type of people. Like this is like the stupidest criminal. Like you can clearly see his face.
His pants are falling off.
Like he can sort of not clearly. You can sort of see his face. He has a hat on, and I'm like, oh man. And I go outside. I run down the street because now I see what direction he headed off in. So I run down the street, and I'm looking. One of these other houses, a neighbor's house, has a motion sensor light, and it keeps going off and on and off and on. I'm like, oh man, he must be over there. But it's 3 a.m. I'm not gonna go into somebody else's like yard. Like we're in Texas, we don't do that around here. You could get shot. Oh. So, and long story short, like someone ends up calling the cops. The cops show up. They're like, oh, like did you guys call? I'm like, yeah, like some dude just tried to break in. He's on the surveillance camera. The cops come inside. Make this big deal. That see the surveillance stuff and
like we saw what you said on the podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, that was basically it. I went.
So he's still on the loose.
Well, they arrested someone that night. Like this, the cop said like they just arrested someone right down the street, but we don't know if it's him. We'll call you so you can identify him. They never called, so I don't know what happened.
Tune in next week for more police drama.
Yeah, see, last week people thought I was a bad person. Now I'm the victim, so everybody feels sorry for me.
Send him cookies, flowers, sympathy cards, all that. So it reminds me of...
I was gonna say, and to add on to that, I'm paranoid the next couple nights. Like, I'm sleeping like right next to the window. Like, I'll go sleep like right next to the front door, look outside constantly, and I'm hearing all these noises.
You're sleeping in front of the front door, like curled up, like dog style.
That'd be amazing. No, but like I'm just sleeping closer to the front door. Like I'm sleeping in the living room, stuff like that. Just because I'm paranoid and last night I scared the crap out of myself. Last night I literally could not sleep because I'm sitting there bored. There's not a lot to do, so I pull out my phone, right? And we have a podcast that we're trying to get on iTunes, right? So I start looking at the iTunes charts for the podcast, and this one stands out. Here, I'll get the name of it. This one podcast stands out, right? I'm like, hey, I like true crime, like the Serial, the podcast was a thing, and I really enjoyed that. And online it said it's called Sword and Scale. I started listening to it, and man, did that podcast scare the crap out of me. It's a true crime podcast, and it told the story of how this one kid had schizophrenia and ended up murdering his family.
Oh, jeez. All right, we're done. and that.
Yeah, long story short, I was scared all night. Any little bump, I would like. Look out the window, yeah.
Yeah, it reminds me of when I lived with my family in Indiana when we first moved here like 8 years ago now. I had an old car. It was 89 Accord, like really old car. And I had a change drawer in the car. And one night I forgot to lock my car, and someone came, and I heard them. I woke up, and they didn't take like anything else in my car, but they took the change drawer. So they were like $1.79 richer, which I just thought was like the most desperate criminal activity, and then I just drove the car without a change drawer for the next.
It was a Wednesday. Year. They wanted a Big Mac. It's okay.
Yeah, exactly. Where they don't commit crime though is up north in Canada. Texas may be the Wild West, but Max knows all about Toronto and the good, calm Canadian winter.
Yeah. Except for Rob Ford. He's our American darling, as we like to call him. Which is quite interesting. But apparently he's going to be running for a potential mayorship again, he's saying. So that'll be exciting. Jimmy Kimmel will cover it.
So we know who Max is voting for.
Funniest thing about him is that this is the weird part. Is like nobody knows this, but it's like as an actual like politician, he actually did like a great job. Like he was a good mayor, and that's the problem. It's like it was like a double-edged sword because it's like he actually did what he said he would do. But then he smoked crack, so.
Hey, you gotta take the good with the bad. You can't.
Yeah, like come on, like what? You want a politician that's gonna do nothing, but he's gonna, be tip top, or you're gonna want somebody to get stuff done, but like his crack every once in a while.
You can't have the best graphics ever and open world gameplay and a brilliant story and multiplayer. Last week, the Order 1886 caused massive rifts. I picture like divorces happened over this game. Families were torn apart because
that's serious, huh?
we had, I mean, not just on our podcast, but the gaming industry in general was like tearing this game to shreds. People defending it, people criticizing it, even within our own comments. Philip Bones says, besides its graphics, the Order 1886 is little better than garbage. The game itself would have been great if it was in 2009, but since it's not, stay away from the Order at all costs. We had comments like that, and then on the very opposite end, Dylan Sanders said, honestly, I give the Order 1886 a 9 out of 10. The gunplay was a lot of fun, it's absolutely gorgeous, and it had a compelling story. Sure, there were some plot points unexplained, but that was ingenious to me. I really think it's a strong contender for Game of the Year. So, literally,
I wouldn't go that far, but yeah.
No, I wouldn't go that far, but it's one of the most polarizing games, I think, that we've got in a long time. And it seems to me like not only because the game is good or bad, but the, whatever you want to call it, the media machine, the hype cycle has kind of thrown this thing out to be viciously attacked or defended almost undeservedly.
Yeah. I feel so bad for Ready at Dawn, man. Like, they just made the game they wanted to make, and Sony let them. And this is what they wanted. I don't think that this was a case.
Why would you need to feel bad for them?
Well, because they're getting bashed, and because of the outlash, like this game's probably not going to sell as well. They're probably not going to get a chance to make.
But at the same time, look, it's like whenever you make something out there, it's like you open yourself to criticism, you know. And when you're asking people to pay money for it as well, it's like you're giving people access to, you're giving them the right to criticize you, right? You know
Sure. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with criticism. I think for this one, though,
I think, of course,
it got weird.
Yeah. Some people are. I feel like a lot of people have not played the game, or they heard their favorite personality speak about the game, and they're like, "That's my opinion," and push, and they go with it. So, that being said, I finished the game. I played it all in one day on Friday.
Clocking in at what time, roughly?
I think I ended up being right a little bit over 8 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you must have done some
I explored,
diligence with
Yeah. One thing that I think about the game. Okay, so first of all, I think that the setting is awesome. I think that the visuals really are ridiculous. Like there were times, especially like when they showed the characters' faces. I think one thing that gaming has struggled with for a long time, and CGI in general struggles with, is something called like dead eyes. You know, where the characters don't look alive. Like they still look like they're dead. This game didn't have that. Like I don't know how they did that, but somehow the characters actually looked like realistic and everything, which was just spectacular. So
did you know?
It was insane. Yeah.
Did you know that those eyes are actually modeled after Ready at Dawn people that work there?
Really?
That's their eyes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Like the actual.
How do they do that?
I don't. The way that they
close or something, and then.
I don't know how they do it with their eyes, but yeah, there was an interview going on. They said, well, yeah, we obviously had actors, you know, doing most of the stuff, but those eyes, it's actually people that work here. And
cool.
Yeah, who no longer work here.
just to bring in another comment, and this will kind of give you an opportunity, Max, to tell us your sort of verdict. Tom McCoy says the reviews for the Order 1886 don't make any sense at all. The game stands out far from the rest because it's different enough from the average Call of Duty or Assassin's Creed. If you don't look at the score and read the full-length reviews, you would think the game would be scoring around an 8-ish. The game gets praised for its story, its characters, its visuals. However, the only real criticisms I see are its length and linear gameplay. All of a sudden, the review score drops. Not every game needs to be an 80-hour open-world RPG that takes you 6 months to beat. And for all the complaints, all the criticism, that does seem to be where it falls. Length and linearity, and is it worth $60? And I've been sort of vocal on saying, like, I don't think that games should be reviewed critically based on their costs, because then you're getting into a really weird thing where my $60 may be different than Gabe's $60, may be different than Max's, maybe, and so that becomes so subjective that I would like to see them review the game and then maybe in a separate box say, hey, you know, if you're on the fence, maybe wait for a price drop. But it could still be, and I'm not saying the Order is, but it could still be a 9 out of 10 game that doesn't maybe necessarily demand your $60 right away.
Yeah, I mean, the trickiness with the game length in general is this. Let's say a month down the line or 2 months down the line, the price drops to $40. Do you not go back and re-review the game?
Right.
Because all of a sudden, it's a different experience. If your review, its entire criticism and foundation was length, do you go back and re-review the game? Because now it's a different experience, right?
For sure.
It's the same experience, it's just a different price.
No, I know, but if your score is so heavily influenced by the value. That being said, I think it's one of those things that's just subjective. Some people will build it into their score, others won't. I think it depends on which outlet you go to. You know, some outlets review the game on the basis of the game. Other people will review the game on the basis as a whole product with influence by marketing and so on and so forth. So, again, it depends on what kind of approach you take to reviewing the game. I think one thing that is like really underrated, and I was really pleasantly surprised that one of the viewers and listeners potentially actually provided the thing about gunplay, because you guys didn't bring it up either, but I think the gunplay is like really, really cool in this game, and more importantly, the guns themselves are really neat. Like, I think that the guns feel different. Some of them are very bad, like that machine pistol is just awful to use. It is like the worst weapon on planet Earth.
Yeah, it's just not accurate. But if you can like hit someone really close, that's a one-shot kill.
Yeah, but it's so annoying. It's like it goes like it's like.
It's got such a good feel though. Like the weight of the guns, it doesn't feel like a floaty third person.
And the design of the guns, I think, is really cool. Like, it's been a long time since I've seen like design of like weapons and stuff like that, where it's like, oh, that's cool. And you know, like that thermite weapon, that's such a cool idea. I love that. Like where you use a certain like pallet to disperse thermite, and then you have to fire a flare into it to set it ablaze, which is just cool. I think that was a really neat idea.
Did you like when they allowed you to like kind of look over the gun when you rotate it in like Galahad's hands?
A little. I liked it, except for the part where it almost was like always 2 or 3 seconds just too long. Like, you know, where it'd be awkward to the point where I'd be like, woo, like, you know, I'll just like start making fun of it because it was just like, it's ridiculous. And, you know, like you could get his wrist to like go like funny and stuff. So, like I would just go like, woo.
Some people were like, "Oh, this is just an egotistical way for Ready at Dawn to show off their stuff." But I actually like appreciated more of, I don't know, just like the attention to detail is huge all around in that game, and allowing you to kind of, like you're saying, like, hey, this thermite rifle is really sweet, and I get to sort of look it over. I thought that was an interesting twist. Instead of just I'm carrying 60 guns in my backpack, I can use them whenever, and you know, I never see them up close. It's just part of my arsenal. Like I liked the effort to say like, hey, Galahad gets this new gun. He really appreciates it, and so should you.
Yeah, and the other thing they did a good job is they made the guns, like, first of all, the guns were a part of the story. There was an element that involved the guns, no spoilers, but so they're significant in that regard, especially certain guns. They make an emphasis saying that these are like powerful weapons, you know?
Right.
So they do a good job with that. I think they did a good job in general with the gunplay. I really enjoyed the fact that the guns felt different, you know what I mean? Like, we didn't have 10,000 variations of pistols and 10,000 assault rifles and 10,000 shotguns. It was like 1 or 2 of each category, and they're done well. And for that, like, I really enjoyed it.
What was your favorite gun in the game?
Probably the thermite.
Gabe, what about you?
Yeah, probably the thermite. That gun reminds me of maybe Resistance, the way that had guns that have a secondary function that also makes their actual use that much more interesting. So definitely the thermite. That's a great one.
Resistance is such an underrated franchise. I love the thermite. I gotta say, like, I thought the revolvers in this game were well done. Like, they pack a punch. You get guys in one hit. It got good sound to it. Like, to me, good pistols, man, that goes a long way. If you can knock down the audio and the visual for that, like, that was my favorite. Just like the single shot revolver.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Story wise, did you fall in love with it?
I think I really liked the character of Galahad. Like, he's that was well done in general. His character. I like that the characters felt like different enough. Some of the things were a little bit kind of on the nose, you know what I mean? Like, of like some of the just the names of the characters can kind of spoil.
They're names that aren't really even names, and
well, like what I mean is like there's some characters that have a big change occur to them. And if you pay attention to their name and then think about what they turn, whatever. So with that in mind, I just felt like it was. The problem with it was sometimes I felt like the story was a little bit too obvious. You know what I mean? Like I think that sometimes the key is to make implications and then let the player figure it out. You know, instead of just like saying, "Here it is. Here's the issue at hand," right to your face. I did enjoy all of the 4 main characters were well done. I think the game did a great job of throwing a wrong curveball at you at the beginning, making you suspect someone's and such, and then there's big twists that happen with that, which is great. I think that a little bit of the character changes with specifically Izzy. I think that her character was a little bit too sudden.
Yeah.
It just felt like it went from black to white just like immediately.
Yeah,
I was impressed that they were able to make me like and empathize with a group like Galahad's got to be like what, like a 40-year. I mean,
400-year.
But I'm saying he's not like Mr. Suave Nathan Drake or like Sexy Ezio. He's like a dude, an older dude, and like I thought it was impressive that they were able to kind of create a bond with that type of a character, even though he's not like your traditional assassin badass, like big, bold, awesome man.
He is in his own right. Like,
well, sure, but just like visually, or
yeah, it makes me want to have that mustache very badly. I wish I could have that action going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Max, well, all right. So like, just stupid numbers are stupid, but what would you give it? Like, would you give it, a 5, or are you closer to something higher?
Let's say this. Let's say, regardless of price, first ignore the price. Like, just
no. I'm not. I would say that for me, it was like between a 7.5 and like an 8. So like somewhere in that, like 7.8, like 78%, something like that. Like where it's not pushing it into that like upper echelon, because I just feel like some elements of the game could have been executed better, and I'm hoping that with the next game they could do that. You know what I mean? Like, with that in mind, I thought that the gunplay was fantastic. It is for sure the prettiest game I've played on consoles, 100%. So for that, it's amazing. I love the fact that they made me forget about the black bars, because when I just turned the game on, I was like, what is this? Like, it was just like, it was so like I couldn't not notice it. But into chapter 3, I was like, oh wait, there's the black bars have been on the whole time, and you just don't notice them, which is, I don't know like how they managed to do that, but they did a great job with that. So for me, again, I would say that it is for sure, if you're somebody that looks for a lot of value out of your games, this really is not a game for you, because it is a one-time experience. That's the thing that I wish that they could have had a new game plus or something, to make me feel like I should come back to the game, except for getting a platinum trophy if I missed on, checking an item or finding all the audio logs or something. So that's definitely an issue with the game. But at the end of the day, it's a really fun game. It's very hectic. I think that the game has potential, like, there is no ceiling on this, because they tease you with I hope that this is not spoiled. Like, people know that there's lichens in the game, right?
Yeah.
But they also tease you with vampires in the game and such. And
that's what you covered your ears for last week, by the way.
Oh,
because that was supposed to be a big surprise.
Well, I think the Order all along was either created or intended to be a franchise, because the way that they first spoke about it was much larger in scope, and I think that this is sort of the proving ground, testing bed, sort of like Assassin's Creed 1, for a much bigger, probably a co-op, probably gun upgrades. I mean, I think if there were gun upgrades in this game, I think that would go such a long way.
I don't want them to have gun upgrades.
Well, I just mean in the sense of then you would be collecting something that has impact. I feel like the audio logs in this game and a lot of the, like, pick up and hold this guy's pipe are completely... Like, I don't want to go find those things. There's no motivation.
I mean, except for trophies, if you.
Yeah. I mean, the last thing I'll say about the game, and we got to get to Batman because a lot of people were.
We got to move off of the order.
Is that, so many games are in their 5th, 6th, 7th iteration that I think people expect this like giant lore or giant world to already be created, and you have to remember that they're introducing this world and these characters to us for the first time. They only have so much time to do that, and so there isn't going to be like, oh my God, this character has been fleshed out for 4 games, like Nathan Drake or like Lara Croft. Like,
but they
takes
did
time
do a
to
good
get
job.
going.
I think they did an incredible job of world building. That's I think at the end of the day, like, first game, did it do its job to make me want to see a second one? Absolutely. Like,
totally.
Just the whole concept of being a monster hunter in this realm is awesome. So I want to see more of it.
Point.
And I think that they did an incredible job of just using guns and visuals to create an interesting world to explore. So for me, it's fun. I just yesterday actually watched a movie called John Wick. I don't know if you guys saw it.
That's the Keanu Reeves movie.
And
I want to see it so bad.
It's a very similar parallel, like, in terms of that movie is crazy, violent, insane, like super... But it's a ton of fun, like, you know what I mean? So, and that's what the Order was for me as well. It's like, I enjoy third-person shooters, so I'm probably a little bit biased in that regard. So for me, it's probably a little bit higher rated than most people maybe would rate it. But yeah, I enjoyed it, and the main thing I want to see more. So, which I guess is a good problem to have.
Do you want to see more of Batman? 2 big things came out for Arkham Knight this week. One, a new trailer that featured Poison Ivy, Two-Face, Harley, Scarecrow, a little more story detail, and the revelation that has an M rating. I'm going to bring in a fan comment right away. Hexameth says, I actually think there are several reasons to worry about Batman Arkham Knight. For example, every new trailer they show us that it looks more and more like Arkham City all over again, but with better graphics, and now the Batmobile. I can't remember a single action game where driving really changed things, and he goes on a little bit more. But this trailer finally gave us that little bit more, I think, besides just Batmobile and Arkham Knight. How did you guys both saw it, right?
I just saw it right before we started recording, actually.
Okay.
You want to go first? Go, Gabe. Fire away.
Sorry. What does he want? Like, if you don't want another Arkham City but better looking, like, what do you want?
I think him and me are kind of on the same page, which is, to me, like, I don't know about you guys, but Arkham
You don't see a significant difference. It's a fourth game that is doing. To be fair though, like you get excited about
I still call this the third one. Origins really doesn't count as far as like this Arkham trilogy.
It wasn't that bad.
It's a good game.
No, I'm not saying it. No. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it doesn't count. Like it's not Rocksteady. Like to me, it's Asylum.
That was a good game. That was
sure. I'm not saying it wasn't. It was a good Batman story, of course. But
I just think that if they went a little bit more down that linear storytelling way with almost a Metroidvania style. I know there's a little bit of that in City, but to me, like, making it GTA at night, I just wish they'd go the other direction. That being said, this trailer the trailer was sweet, I thought.
The trailer was great, man. The faces. Like, you want to talk graphics, you want to talk about the Order looking pretty, this looks really, really pretty, too. So, I mean, this contends with it.
I think that the main thing that a lot of people are not accounting for is that I think Rocksteady, there's big things that happen in this game. Like, I think that this is going to be the foundation for a Justice League game or a Superman game, whatever it is, that's the next one. But because of that, with the Arkham Knight as well, they're trying to keep everything hush-hush, which is why I don't think we have seen so much. Like, I think that we've been kind of coached by the movie industry and even by games now, where a lot of times the trailer just gives you away the whole thing. Like, it gives you all the best bits in the trailer. And Rocksteady and Warner Brothers decided this time, no, we'll hold it back. We're keeping everything as much as possible close to the chest until we actually release. And it's exceptional, the fact that they still managed to keep a secret who is the Arkham Knight.
Because this trailer, like, this is a Scarecrow trailer for the most part.
Yeah.
Like, the Arkham Knight is, like, really not even in it for the most part. So, that's super interesting. I think the Scarecrow thing, it's definitely a main through line in the game, but it's not the main through line. It's not the Arkham Knight. Even though the Arkham Knight and Scarecrow do kind of tie in together. But the fact that, like you said, Max, the Arkham Knight is still very much a mystery. And, these days everything gets spoiled ahead of time, unfortunately. And this time it doesn't seem like it's going to. One thing I wanted to ask you, Zach, because we were talking about this earlier on Skype, about the game possibly getting pushed back. I don't think it does now, because they wouldn't put out a trailer right now with that date.
It can't get pushed again.
I mean, I think
it was supposed to be out last June. A year delay. I mean, that's already too much. And more importantly, there's nothing else coming out that period. So I think that they could sell very well.
Yeah, I don't think it gets pushed, because if Rocksteady had any inkling of, like, okay, hey, we might not make that date, they don't
Here's what I was thinking. And not Rocksteady's decision, but WB has Mortal Kombat 10, The Witcher 3, and Batman all releasing 3 months in a row in the middle of the year. And they haven't shown or announced anything that would come out in the fall. And so just what I've heard from some other people within the industry is
a Lego game.
That's true. But will they bump one of those three to fill a September-October slot?
No, I don't think it does, because September and October is already so crowded. And keep in mind,
that's what they said last year, and it wasn't. That's why
because everything got pushed out to next year.
Yeah, but I just think it's one of those cases like, like Dying Light, where it sold 1.2 million. That game comes out 2 months earlier. It doesn't even probably break 500,000.
Yeah,
but Batman is a game that can step up into a fall slot and sell millions.
Yeah, but you don't want to release Batman at the same time that Assassin's Creed's being, like, those games are too similar. They're not super similar, but they're both open world.
What if Batman took the Destiny slot, the September slot, pre-fall? You get in there. I mean,
it could happen, but I really hope to God it doesn't, because I think it's smarter for them. Look, summertime, nothing comes out. You'll be the only big fish in the pond.
I want it to come out. I think that's great. There's been very few demos. Very few.
I don't see it. And more importantly, the other thing again, I think that the reason why there's not any demos or anything is because they're trying to keep the experience like protected. You know, they're trying to keep it so that like when you have the product in your hand, that's.
But when are they going to bring press in to start like really churning those hype?
Well, it's still a while out. Like it's not like this game's coming out next month. Like,
no, it's 3.5 months. But
yeah, like they have a while. Maybe in the next 2 months they start showing it to press a little bit. But one thing that we haven't even touched on, you mentioned it, and I want to ask Max what he thinks. Because he seems to be like the most like vocal Batman advocate. I love Batman, but
mature
Max
rating.
needs to, the mature rating. Max, how happy does that make you that? Like, you know, they've said, like, there's no, like, really, it's not, there's no cussing, there's no, like, crazy blood, but it's just a mature game. Like, the themes themselves are pretty mature. The game has to go to dark places.
Well, Batman, naturally speaking, and even from Origins, it is a very mature story. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't have an issue with that. I think that the best part about this whole thing was the response by Rocksteady, right? Like, where they put out and said, look, we wrote a story, and it has dark elements to it, and this is the rating that it got. Like, it's not like we planned to get a mature rating or rated T14. So I like that they responded in a very honest manner and in a very kind of like, look, this is the story we want to tell, and we didn't expect it to get a mature rating or rated T14, but that's what it got. So
yeah, I think that's
on that basis. I think it's like it shows you that, like, you know, they didn't care. And more importantly, WWE.
WWE definitely
I mean, Batman
doesn't
kind
care.
of does wrestle those
Yeah,
guys.
exactly. He has suplexy sometimes.
I think that's. Go
I'm
ahead.
glad it got it amateur because it lets them explore things that maybe they wouldn't be able to explore.
See, like that.
before.
That's though where I think people are misreading it, because like Max just said, they didn't expect a mature rating. So I don't think it's like, oh, now that they got this mature rating, how dark is Batman going to be? I think they were making same style of game, and then it just happened to. Batman games have been borderline M games for a while. Batman, he doesn't kill people, but he gets pretty intense with some of his
I mean,
takedowns.
he breaks their dude. Those punches that you knock out those goons
Right.
with. I mean, they have their skull on the floor, and you crack their skull into the floor. Like, that's pretty violent stuff.
No, I'm not saying because it's rated M.
But
No, I'm not saying because it's rated M now they get to do all this stuff. No, I'm saying they already did the stuff. It ended up being rated M, and that has me excited because I was gonna say X-Men. Batman, like I said, mature character. Even the animated movies like Batman and Son, like that's like there's cussing, like.
I just don't think it's. I don't think you're going to see that. I think.
No, there isn't. I think this is very much tonally similar to the other ones, but it just gets a little dark. I don't imagine Batman's gonna be cussing.
And I also wonder, like, I know it was part in there in Arkham Asylum and some of the other games, but like, I wonder if sort of the drug narcotic side of things with Scarecrow, and if that also contributes to the M rating. In the fact of how that's going to, you know, affect people or manipulate them or distort or deform. I don't know. I just don't think you're going to see Batman, you know, cussing it up or Poison Ivy dropping her top or, you know.
Yeah, I know that, and they've already said that's not the case.
Speaking of cussing, by the way, a little bit of a throwback, just one line.
Yeah.
The time that Galahad drops an F-bomb in that game is brilliant.
Oh.
So, if you remember, it was just so. I literally was like laughing like for like a good 30, 40 seconds straight after that. That was perfect.
My hope for Batman is that they take these characters and kind of devise mini Arkham Asylums around some of them, so that like we get. Look, I'll lay it out. If they give me big indoor environments that are extensive, I'm perfectly happy. Do your open world thing, be Arkham City, you know, 2.0. If I can get some big indoor environments, I'm happy. I just don't like when it's go in for a 5-minute indoor sequence, fly across the city for like. I want full-on story stuff. That's not just swooping around and fighting random groups of guys. If they can do that, if it's very similar everywhere else, fine. But I just want use that power of next gen to build some huge interiors and give us like mini storylines within the big overall game.
Yeah, I mean, I think that in generally speaking, they do a good job of actually making the city like they reward you for exploring it. You know what I mean? Like in City, they did reward you. You know what I mean? Like if you went ahead and did the Riddler challenges or the Mad Hatter mission, or the Calendar Man, or Bane. Like there was definitely a lot of aspects that you could constantly interact with by going around the city, kind of recreating the idea of Batman, right? Like where you just go from one mission to the next. Oh, now you encounter all of a sudden Mad Hatter, or all of a sudden you encounter this guy. So I think they do a good job of that. The one thing I'm a little bit concerned by is still making it feel like a live city, because a lot of times it still feels staged. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't feel like...
We did see in this trailer cars driving, so that has made
an improvement.
It's not like, oh, Christmas Eve and everyone's waiting for Santa.
Yeah. Where, like, with Arkham Origins, if you remember, there was obviously sections that, like, you're like, how... There's no people living here. Yeah. Like, there's no... This is an abandoned city. So, I just hope that will not be an issue in this game, and hopefully with this new trailer, it seems like they're going in the right direction. I mean, I 100% will say right now that no matter what, I will probably still like this game because it's Batman. So I'm gonna be biased. I'm probably gonna be when it comes out, it'll be like, guys, and then I did this, and then we went over here, and then oh my god. And
but they've earned it. I mean, Rocksteady has made all three of those games. I think are well above average games.
Yeah.
No matter what, like,
and
you
not
can't
just
really
for
deny it. They're well made. No, they're well made games.
Yes. Yeah, because I think that's another thing is like sometimes those games get a lot of flack for like, oh, people like it so much because it's Batman. I'm like, yeah, of course that adds to it. Just like when people like Super Smash Brothers because it's Mario and all of the nostalgic characters we like. But at the same time, those games are just well done. Like, look at how many games copied that fighting system after that.
Oh yeah.
They did a ton of games looked at that, and then So I think that game, that entire series is good. I think that the best thing to come out of this whole trilogy from them is going to be, of course, the fact that now Rocksteady is a studio that you look to on par with, like, you know, the big dogs in the industry. Whereas before that, you never thought of them as, like, you know, this exceptional studio. And now we'll see where we go into the future. And again, I think that no matter what, they keep saying this is our last Batman game, and they emphasize that, like, Batman game. So I'm guessing we see another superhero-related game from them.
A Justice League game that's like dark. Oh, man.
Or maybe Batman v Superman.
We got a lot of games we played, so we got to get into that. But last question on Batman: do either of you guys think that a last-gen version gets stealth announced before this thing comes out?
No, I don't think they care. The install bases for PS4 and Xbox One are big enough now. Like, they're actually pretty sizable. So
I bring that up just because Tomb Raider did it, like, kind of under the radar.
Honestly speaking, though, like, I think that's the only huge game that is going to be cross-platform, right? Like in the what else do you have? The Order is exclusive. Bloodborne's exclusive. So in the first 6 months, but Witcher's also okay. I'm not going to talk about Witcher, but whatever. Witcher, let's say, but I think that is going to be like the big cross-platform, like kind of like what Destiny did with PS4 and Xbox selling really well. So I think it's going to be the next one of those.
For Batman?
Yeah.
So you think there is going to be a last-gen version?
No.
I just think that it's going to be the first. Like, I can't. Is there any other games that are coming out on both PS4 and Xbox One in the first 6 months that are at this scale? There's no.
But Batman isn't. Batman's
Witcher
only. No, Witcher. Those both are next gen only.
Yeah, no, that's what we're saying.
That's what we're saying. I'm saying that everything else that has come out in the first 6 months of this year that is big is usually an exclusive.
And so what you're saying? Batman is going to be that as well?
No, Batman's going to sell like hotcakes because it's not an exclusive, because it's a cross.
Oh, you mean PS4, Xbox One? I thought you meant like last cross. Okay.
No. No. None of us think this is coming to last gen. Maybe you, but I don't think Max does.
I don't think so.
Who made Arkham Origins?
That was
WB Montreal.
Yeah. I just wonder, like, what if you throw them on a smaller version, like Shadow of Mordor did, and have them, you know, just to make.
I think we would know about it by now.
Yeah, I think it's. I don't know. I mean, it's always possible because that's what happened with Tomb Raider, right? Like, it was kind of like they kind of just released it silently, like over here, like, oh, and it's coming.
But Tomb Raider's still a long time out. This is coming relatively soon, and we don't know about it.
Yeah, true.
So I don't see it. I mean, the only way maybe it's like, you know, maybe they really do some sort of like fall release for it. They say, oh, and in the fall we'll have, which is kind of backwards thinking, but
sure. You know. So Batman, it's looking good. I like it.
We're like,
we're 2 thumbs up.
If I could have more thumbs, I would put all of them
crazy excited for it.
7 thumbs. Yeah. Gabriel, how many thumbs do we give Resident Evil Revelations 2?
Ooh, I'll give that one like a thumb and a half. I like it, man.
All right.
Did you finish it?
I have not. Gabe tells me this game isn't scary, so I'm like, all right. I hate horror games. I'm gonna
It's
beat
not.
it up anyways. I'm freaking losing my mind every time I play this game. I just got to this scene. Okay, it does some genius things. It's episodic. It's cheap. You got single player co-op, which you're like controlling 2 characters. I'm in this part of this prison. I think I'm getting out of this prison. All of a sudden, I got this wristband on that monitors if I'm scared or not, and they tell me green means you're calm, orange means you're anxious, red means you're like freaking out. My girl's wristband shows green and orange, but it should be red because I'm losing. And we're trying to get out of this prison, and as soon as we go to get out, all the cells open up. Gabe, how many guys? Like 12 guys rush at you, and I lost my mind.
That's a really cool section, and
oh my god.
And I guess spoilers for Resident Evil Revelations too. Like even though like there's not tons to spoil really, so that's why I feel comfortable doing it.
I think the story. I think people know it's more of a. I don't want to say like a joke, but it's not like it takes itself very hyper seriously, which then comes off as kind of silly.
Yeah, no, they know what they are. Like even that first cutscene with those 3 guys like just all smiling at the camera in that way, like they know that this is like a funky Resident Evil game that they attach the name to. And I mean, what do you think? Do you like it? You said you didn't. It's super short. You finished it in under 2 hours, but it's $5 or something. You get all 5 episodes for $25. So,
and they're committed to one a week.
Now, what is it? Because you guys haven't like really like. Okay. What's the gameplay like? Is this Resident Evil like classic Resident Evil?
No, it's Revelations 2. So if you played Revelations, that is what it is. It's exactly the same.
So how would you describe it? Like kind of like a mix between modern like RE6 and kind of like also the older ones. To me, it feels like a mix.
No, what about it makes it feel old? Like one of the older ones.
I mean, it's more horror-driven, slower paced, enclosed hallways instead of like.
It's the opposite of that.
Huh.
It's the opposite of enclosed in hallways.
No, oh sure that, but it's not horror-driven. It's action. Like this is action-based completely.
Yeah, it's action-based, but I'm saying like the setting is more. You're not like going to Africa to like save the world. You're in like a torture prison.
Yeah. Well, sure, but when I hear horror, I. Like I said,
they're like mauling people with giant spikes that are smashing. Like, how is this not horror? I was expecting to be like walking through like some city streets, shooting some zombies or something. All of a sudden, I've got these machines spinning with blades, cutting people in half, blood everywhere. They're trying to squeeze me in a trash compactor like Star Wars.
Sure. And if gore is horror to you, then that's fine. To me, gore does not equal horror. Like there is no tension in this. When I'm walking,
I mean,
when I'm walking, maybe when I'm walking these corridors, I don't like nothing unexpected ever happens. You know what I mean? Like
there's a couple jump scares.
Okay, have you switched to the other characters yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
No. I've played Moira, which I think is the weirdest name ever.
Yeah.
And Claire, who has something going on.
All right. So I mean, this is a well-known thing. So you play as Barry, which is Moira's dad,
right?
And you also play as the little girl. What the hell is her name? I forget. Natalia.
Yeah.
Natalia has a power that. You switch to her and she can see where all the zombies are. There's like a little silhouette. So you play as her. You know what's around every corner. That's what I mean. Like this isn't like they're not.
What's the fun part of it?
I think the fun part of it for me is that it gets you in really quick. Like all of a sudden, and I don't know if you guys have played the handheld games 999 or like Virtue's Last Reward, Zero Escape. It gives me that feel where like you're trapped in this place, you got this wristband on you, someone's talking to you, you don't know who they are, and you kind of feel like you're a pawn in some,
bigger picture
experiment or something. But it gets you in really quick, and I like that there's not a whole lot of like it doesn't start off with a level where Claire and Moira are, at their home and you're looking out the window. Like all of a sudden after the first cutscene, boom, you wake up in this prison and you don't know what's going on. So you're in it real quick. And I like that they give you a lot of different gameplay stuff. So you've got guns, you've got projectiles, you've got the character switching element, you've got item management, you got item switching. I mean, that's stuff that Resident Evil has done before. But to me, I'm backtracking all over myself by saying this, but knowing that it's an episodic $5 game that has pretty darn good visuals, a lot of cool like ideas, and a compelling story, like I applaud it so much for being that and not coming out at $60, but instead saying, hey, we're going to give it to you bite-sized, and it's like quality bite size. It feels like they chopped up a Resident Evil game and gave it to you in episodic format.
Really?
To me, it does. I mean, not
Now,
all the
of course,
polish.
To be
not
honest,
triple. Yeah.
to be honest, if you compare it to recent games, that's not necessarily a good thing,
No.
right? Because
Gabe, you're more of an expert on the series and franchise as a whole. Like, how did it strike you?
I like it a lot. I don't know if maybe I was sounding like I didn't, but the game is fun. Like the gunplay, it's Resident Evil Revelations gunplay. I played that game more recently on PC. I live streamed it like maybe 2-3 months ago, something like that. So I was like fairly fresh as far as the gameplay, and it really is just an evolution of that. You don't get the scanner anymore, which I thought was pretty annoying. In Revelations 1, you had the scanner after you killed every enemy, you scan them and it gives you a percentage. Every time you get 100%, you get a green herb, and that's mostly how you found them, even though they were also in the environment. Here, they're plentiful. They're all over the place. Like, you're not going to die because you ran out of green herbs. So that's what I mean by it's a little bit less of a horror game and more of an action game.
Yeah, but I'm wondering, like, from that, like, from everything you're describing, is the narrative interesting? Because it sounds to me like it's
about to get into
typical, hey, let's kill a whole bunch of hordes of zombies, which is great. But
well, there isn't hordes of zombies.
The premise is pretty cool.
There is one like large group of zombies, but no, you're not going around with hordes of zombies. Every time you have an encounter with enemies, it's just a couple of them. And
so do they feel significant? Is there a case of like resource management where like you have
what's the last Resident Evil game you played?
I played 6. I tried 6, and then, well, since then, what have we had? 2 games?
Sure.
We had the remaster, and we had this.
It is Revelations, right? So that's what it's like. But if
and that's my thing. Like, that's why, like, I'm not trying to expand so much on what the game is, because Revelations is there. That's what the game is.
It does feel like kind of like Leon segments from 6. Like, that's probably what it's closest to. Would you say?
Sure.
Because maybe it's not horrific in the sense of like, oh my god, but it does definitely. It's got a spooky feel to it. It's not like you're running through courtyards and trying to save the president. Like you're.
Also, another thing, I finished the game Zach hasn't, so I've played stuff that he hasn't.
Yeah,
so it's hard for a game to scare me when like there's like little funny lines being said. Like
it's corny.
Yeah, like if the character feels like he can say like that like right now, like he must not be all that scared. Like, especially, like, when you play as Barry, like, Barry's never really scared. He has a little girl with him that he's taking care of, and not once is Barry in any real danger. When you play as Claire and Moira, sure, that one part, the compact trash thing, I guess, that's the most tense that the game gets. But the gameplay's good. The story, it takes place between Resident Evil 5 and Resident Evil 6. You do see, like, elements of the Ouroboros virus actually in play again, which is cool. That to me, that Resident Evil 5, which is where that happened, is a little bit of an underrated Resident Evil game because everybody loved 4 so much, and 5 was just so much more action oriented that people.
I really like 5 a lot.
Yeah, like people were like, oh no, this isn't Resident Evil 4, and it wasn't. But that doesn't mean that Resident Evil 5 was bad. So this does take elements from that, and you said what would I compare it to? I think more Resident Evil 5 than maybe necessarily Leon's and Resident Evil 6. But, yeah, I mean, the inventory management in this is a lot easier than other Resident Evil games. You have a lot of slots. Plus, you have 2 characters. So, if you run out of space for ammo, you can have your partner just carry the ammo, and when you need it, they can just pass it. You can, click the pause button and pass ammo or any other item to each other for the most part. You give your partner green herbs, they'll heal you when you need to. The same with the this has something that not a lot of Resident Evil games have, which is a bleeding thing. Like once one of those big guys hits you, you start bleeding, you take damage over time.
Can't run anymore.
Yeah, and you can't run, so you got to make sure that you have bandages with your partners.
I mean, like let's be fair, there's definitely some clumsy mechanics in this one. Moira has a flashlight, and you have to shine on items to see them. Even if you know where they are, Claire can't pick them up unless Moira shines her stupid flashlight on it and picks it up. The controls, like, you hold X to run, which is, to me, puts my hands in the most awkward position. It makes no sense because everything else is traditional third person, left trigger, right trigger, move and shoot. I think it's a game that's more fun than good, and it's one that benefits significantly from the fact that it's episodic, and for $5 you're getting all this. Knowing what $5 would get you in a lot of other games like on Steam or whatnot, I know we just talked about like not evaluating games for their price point, but the sort of novelty of having an episodic game that's based off of a big franchise really appealed to me.
Yeah, a weekly thing. It's amazing.
I think that generally the thing I'm most excited about this is that if it's successful, maybe more publishers and developers will look at this as a viable business model.
And they have a schedule every week. So that is what Episodic has always wanted to be, and this is like the first game. I just saw a thing that Tales from the Borderlands Episode 1 came out in November.
Yeah.
It's March in a week, and we don't even have a date for Episode 2, and yet they're already announcing Minecraft and a partnership with Lionsgate Studio. I mean, Life is Strange gives you a 6-week range. This game every week, like, some people seem to be getting it better than Telltale and executing on what Episodic was always supposed to be.
Yeah. That date for Tales from the Borderlands is coming, by the way. Like,
yeah, the thing with Telltale, they always do, like, they'll be like, oh, it's coming out in 3 days.
Yeah.
That's what they do. So
and they are very, very close to that. They have not forgotten about the game. And
well, I'm just saying December, January, we're going on the 4th month.
The only
forget
thing,
about it.
To be honest, like, I don't know if that's a great thing for them to do every week, because we'll see. I mean, some people might want to see it that way, but I almost feel like maybe there's going to be a crowd that says, well, like, did you just, like, basically take a game, cut it into 5 chunks, and do that?
That is what they did, and also...
Yeah, but it has to have a natural, like, for episodic content has to have, like, like, a typical game would, beginning, climax, the main thing
Gabe,
happens, a big
correct me if I'm wrong, but this game has more than 4 characters, right?
No, not that I know of. I don't know. Not that I know of. This is it for... As far as I know, this is it. You're gonna be playing these characters. But Max, what they did with this is they knew that this was gonna be episodic. So each episode has that beginning, and then they have the climax, and then they have like the big like cliffhanger. Like this ends with a cliffhanger because episode 2 is next week. So they were very mindful of how they were releasing the game. Like they didn't make this like a Resident Evil game.
So it didn't feel like they build a game and then just say, okay, at chapter 2, chop it off. At chapter 4,
no.
Okay.
That's what they did. Probably, but they made it so that...
No, but they were building the game with the idea that it's going to be episodic.
Oh, yeah, they know this the whole time.
Built, yeah, okay, good.
Yeah.
So that's a concern that I would have, like, with it, like, feeling very kind of, like, haphazardly, like, oh, just cut it there, that's it, it's good.
No, this game ends in an interesting way. I just want to play the next one because I want to find out what happens. I said spoilers, but I'm still not going to get into it. Like, they leave a good thread there for the next episode, and like every other episodic game, we get the next time on Resident Evil thing, and it has me excited, and it's $5 a week.
And let's not forget there is a multiplayer raid mode that is totally separate from this that you can play, and I mean they've got some free to play elements in there. Did you dive into that?
You want to talk about value? That's
the raid mode is actually like one of my favorite parts from the original Revelations, and I haven't had a chance to play with anyone. I played it by myself for a little bit, and yep, it's still super awesome.
It's like a horde mode, basically, right?
Yeah, it is a horde mode, and it's super fun to do co-op. So maybe we have a chance to play.
I think like that's a good thing. I mean, maybe they did chop it up, but as long as they ended the closure to each episode or the cliffhangers, that's good. But honestly, like you give them the little 2-hour story, and then after they're done with that, you back it up with a multiplayer mode that people could play until the next one comes out. I mean, Telltale games are really, well written and whatnot, but this is possibly the most like extensive little plate of content that we've got for like an episodic $5 thing.
Yeah. See, and you haven't finished it, but once you do, I think you'll be excited for next week because
there is only 4 characters, by the way. I was mistaken on that.
Yeah.
I think it would have been cool if they did like this episode, you get to play Claire and Moira. Next episode, you're Barry and whoever.
Your plan is all 4 every episode.
Yeah.
What happens is you play the first half of the episode as Claire and Moira. You play the second half as Barry and I always forget her name, Natalia.
Yeah.
And they're sort of happening concurrently, but not really. They're tied in. Like
eventually they'll cross paths.
Eventually I think they do meet up and stuff. But
I mean, Max, would you like Life is Strange every week? Like we were so hyped. You don't think so? No.
Mm-mm.
Well, not every week.
I wanted to know what was going. I mean, not every week like 52. I'm just saying, like, if they drop that thing, it's short again, like a 2-hour thing. I want to know what was going to happen. I think.
I don't know.
I think it would sell more.
It might if it's a good first episode and continues to be good, obviously, right? Because then you keeping people on and you're having people jump on every week.
Right.
I don't know why to me, I think episodic should be monthly.
Mhm.
Like, if you could do that, that's a good way to go about it. Because I feel like the idea with episodic is that the experience you're giving me is something where it's like, here's a whole experience for 2 hours that you dedicate instead of your typical, 10 hours plus. And if you do every week, you're already doing the same thing. You're getting me to spend 10 hours. So to me, personally, I think episodic is good. Like, if monthly would be ideal. You know what I mean? Like, once a month, I get an episode of whatever game that is. And if ideally you could have it so that there's a game, like this week you have Life is Strange, the week after that a new episode of Resident Evil, and so on and so forth. Because then you're kind of like jumping to all these different worlds, exploring them for 2 or 3 hours.
Such like a world I want to live in, where you're getting bite-sized chunks of different games, and I feel like it would make them more exciting and kind of add intrigue to them instead of like, oh, I'm playing Assassin's Creed for the next 25 hours. You chop it up, and it's not doing anything in the game, but psychologically it's kind of changing your view on it, and I'm just excited that a big studio, or if Capcom still holds that spot, did this, and it's not coming from Telltale, or it's not coming from Don't Nod, it's coming from Capcom and Resident Evil. And like, imagine the possibilities if they did this with Mass Effect, or they did this with even Call of Duty or something like that. Like, it could be really awesome.
And that's so interesting because each of the three that are doing this, I mean, there is other episodic games going on, like Republic and stuff like that, but I think those are like on a lower level in my opinion. But
yeah.
All right, Telltale, Square Enix with Don't Nod, and they're all doing it so different. Telltale does it like, okay, we're gonna put it out when it's ready. It could take up to 4 months. Like, look at Tales from the Borderlands.
We have no polish.
Yeah, it took 4 months.
Well, I think they also just, with Telltale, I almost think they didn't expect themselves to blow up this much. Like, I think Telltale is almost playing catch-up.
Stuff though, like stop with that. You got like 2 or 3 things that you're doing right now. Plus, you just keep announcing more stuff. You're gonna
become a factor. They're cashing in on a great formula and a great game in Walking Dead, but it's getting to the point where it's like, okay, could we please, instead of telling me that Minecraft and this, like, could we please just finish Tales of the Board? I'm not even playing that one, but if I was, I'd be like, okay, I'm glad you have more games coming, but how about you?
Yeah, just finish what you're.
They all review well, so it's like, like they always tell interesting stories, and that's the thing. It's like, if what you're going into it is just finish it, then that's not a good mentality to have. You know what I mean? Like, me as a gamer, I would not want to have.
But there's no way it's taking them 4 months to make episode. It's because they're so.
Yeah, and that's
yeah.
All right, Max. All right, see, Max. If Game of Thrones wasn't going on, if they were not working on Minecraft, if they weren't doing all this like new TV stuff, like at the same time, we would have been having
a new season of Walking Dead, probably.
Yeah, like, man, just.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but the thing is, it's almost like, look, at this point, the way I look at them is almost like a channel, like a TV channel, right? Very much. And they're providing different TV shows. They can't just cater one show and show it 24/7, right? So I think that the issue with Telltale is probably the fact that they didn't expect themselves to grow this much. And I think that I agree with the fact that, yes, they took on maybe too many projects to keep up with all of them. But at the same time, quality-wise, they're maintaining a pretty good bar, in terms of the story they tell.
Yeah. In terms of the story, yes, but their engine is trash. Like, their engine doesn't run well.
I think they should be taking a task for. I mean, I'm sure they'll speed up the pace, but Tales of the Borderlands, every 4 months, it's going to take 1.2 years.
It won't be every 4 months. Like,
I mean, I know a weekly is maybe too, condensed, but
I don't think so.
Like, find a way to give it to you every other month. I just don't know. Maybe it works for them business-wise, but I would think that if you take that big of a break, unless they're getting,
I don't think it must have not sold
show that people are buying, or
I don't think
or are people just buying season passes, so it doesn't matter.
I don't think that it's sold enough. Maybe.
It sold pretty well, I think.
But probably not as well as the other projects they're working on. You know what I mean? Because there's a reason. Why did The Walking Dead come out in a pretty timely manner?
Because at the time they were just working on The Walking Dead.
No, when they were doing season 2 of The Walking Dead, they already had announced Game of Thrones and had
They had
Borderlands
announced
already
it, but they
announced.
hadn't started yet.
Yeah, but of
Well,
course
the
they would
only thing
work
they were
on it. What do you
doing
mean? When they make an announcement, they're already working on it. They're
No, well,
scripting, they're creating character models.
Sort of, but not to the level where they are now. When The Walking Dead season 2 was coming out, the only thing interfering with that was The Wolf Among Us.
Which also got short-handed and took a lot longer than it was supposed to as well.
Yeah, like those were the only two major things. Like, sure, Tales from the Borderlands was sort of already thinking in the studio. Like, the deals were already being made, the art was already being done. I understand it's already being worked on, but it's not all hands on deck. Like
Max,
Yeah.
here's my deal. Like, you love the Lego games. I think they're really cool. But every time those games come out, they may make a lot of them. They may use a lot of properties, but they are polished and they are on point when they release them. Telltale comes out and doesn't seem to care if the games don't work, take forever to release. They just throw all these games at us to make money, and I feel like they should be taken to task a little bit.
So you don't think that the reason why they don't come out in time is because they're trying to create a good story?
No, I think it's because their hands are in so many different
So why are the games
baskets.
reviewing so well?
I'm not saying they're bad games. I think they're good games.
yeah, no, like the
But-
story is
When
good.
you say that the game is blah, usually when it's just a blah product.
No, I'm not saying the game is blah. I'm saying that they are so sporadic and haphazard in their release and their way
Well,
of.
I mean, okay, at that same time, you could say something about, like, someone like, I mean, let's not bring them up specifically, but like with Valve, a lot of times it's kind of like, well, this is the game we're working on. Here it is. It's like they kind of decide when they release whatever they release.
To me, it just
And-
feels sort of like the Kickstarter thing of like, hey, I paid my money, I expect to get it here. Oh, it's going to take 2 more months. Oh, it's going to take 2 more months. But the kicker for Telltale is in that time where they're saying it's going to take 2 more months, they're releasing another game to make money. And like, how are you going to sell somebody on a season pass? I know they don't guarantee a release date, but you're going to say, hey, Tales of the Borderlands, episodic.
Yeah.
But we can't get to it because we got Game of Thrones starting up, we got Minecraft starting up.
I mean, the only way
They're good games. Don't get me wrong, they really are.
scale the studio up, right? Like if they bring in enough people that can maintain that quality. I just think that the main issue for Telltale is that at this point they're worried to miss. You know what I mean? So it's like, because they know, like, look, if you misfire once,
you're screwed.
Because Telltale wasn't a huge company.
Yeah, like look, they made Jurassic Park before they made The Walking Dead. Like Jurassic Park was not a
those
hit.
games, like they did the Back to the Future game as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure they sold well, but not like Walking Dead well, and talking about Game of the Year and all of these things. Now we're getting more and more Telltale styled games as well. So now they're getting competition in this field, and we're seeing other companies like now Capcom with this provide you with more gameplay, and how is that going to affect, people's perception of a Telltale game where it's a predominantly story-driven experience, you know what I mean? Like,
sure.
It's not about puzzle solving or crazy good gameplay, because let's be fair, there is no gameplay per se, you know what I mean?
Then Telltale, go make a TV show, get away from the games then. Like, I mean,
I
if
don't
that's
want them
what
to
you
get away
want
from games.
if all they want to do is tell a story, then
They're,
go.
but but you aren't games about telling stories?
I mean, that's their prerogative. I think the issue is.
Wait. Games are not about telling stories?
Not always. What story does?
Yeah, I know. No, I'm not saying always, but I'm saying that gaming is a medium for storytelling.
Sure. I know, but when you're trying to fine, whatever. They want to tell stories.
Games, right?
Yeah, but why do they have to tell 5 stories
do
at
you
once?
want everything to just be platformers?
I'm not saying that.
Let's not battle over the kind of game or the quality game. I think the bigger picture is like they've got this kind of rickety wagon right now, which is their engine. That's good, but it has a lot of cracks, and they're piling more and more stuff on this wagon. And at a certain point, are those wheels going to give out? Because they're not taking the time to iron out the issues that they have. Instead, they're just expanding, and I wonder if it catches up to them. I hope it doesn't, because I like what they do. The Walking Dead has been one of my top games of the year both seasons, and I think it's phenomenal. They were sort of the pioneers of the episodic games that we're getting out of Resident Evil and Life is Strange. I just wish that they would slow down for a second, turn their wagon into a Lamborghini, and then zoom off and maybe make even more money and be even more successful.
See, and this statement might not sound very nice, but I also love Telltale games. Like I love them too. Maybe it sounds like I don't, but their engine is trash. Like it is complete trash. Like their engine doesn't work the way it is supposed to. Like there is constant frame rate issues. there's technically these games don't run well, even on PC. Forget about trying to play like. Have you tried playing The Walking Dead on Vita?
No, I played The Walking Dead on the PS3 though, and when I played season 1 like episode per episode, and yes, I had also issues.
Yeah, like, and that's the thing. Just okay, stop announcing everything. Fix your engine, or make a new engine that will make every game look different, so that you don't confuse what the hell these things are, because they all look super similar. And that's my point. Not like, oh, Telltale's a bad company. I love Telltale, but stop announcing new stuff. Get your engine working properly on all platforms, so that people that are like playing on Vita or iOS aren't having this terrible experience. Because yeah, your story's amazing, and I understand that, but if what I'm playing isn't working well.
I mean, that's a fair criticism, because it's not fair that we would critique, like Assassin's Creed for its technical flaws, but then Telltale gets a pass.
Yeah, I mean, they give it a pass because they are so good at the stories, and I understand that. They are really, really good at it.
And look, at the end of the day, it all comes back to money. So it's like, as long as they keep making money and hands over fist, it's just the way they're
at one point, Guitar Hero and Rock Band were making money, and that's what.
You guys excited for both those returning at E3?
I'm excited for one of them returning. I don't care to play both, but I'll play a new Rock Band.
Guitar Hero and Rock Band.
They're coming back, man. More realistic Rock Band, where you get to shoot your.
I mean, I think it's just an opportunity to sell all the stuff to my younger brother, who was 6 years old when Guitar Hero was first.
And we sort of got. I mean, we really got away from Resident Evil. I think we should summarize that with saying it's.
Go play it.
Yeah, episodic games are awesome. Like,
it is very gory. Even the enemies are like caked in blood. Like it is.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it's scary or not, that's going to be person to person. But it is a gory as heck game.
Yeah, man, those blades killing you. Ooh.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. So, sorry that we went on a tangent there, but we do that sometimes, and hopefully you guys
take us on another tangent, Max. You brought up the Vita. You are a proud owner of a new Vita. And that's like no coverage.
Yeah, so I finally bought a Vita, which Zach has provided a prop above his. Yeah, there we go. That shoulder, left shoulder. But that thing is awesome. That's such a good little system. Like, I don't even know why I held off for this long. Me being a guy that usually shops around and finds deals and stuff. Now Target Canada is going out of business, so I managed to get a Vita for like
the whole thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Target Canada. They're fine in the United States.
Yeah, Target Canada.
Canadians just don't like Target.
Oh, they didn't really do a good job. They came in here like half the shelves are empty. They were twice as priced as like Walmart, and they're like, buy stuff, guys. It was.
Where else will you find all your amiibos?
Well,
go on with eBay.
Mario. So, nonetheless, Vita, awesome system. To be honest, I'm enjoying it more than the 3DS. Of course, that could be an element of like, it's new. So
yeah, sure. I'm sure that is what it is.
It is a polished system, and when you play the right games, it was touted as like it's gonna be a PS3 in your hands, but really, what I use it for, and it sounds like what you use it for, is like sort of my handheld PC. It's the indie machine that you can get in and get out real quick with a great experience in your hands, a great visual experience, and just like I'm sad that it doesn't get more exposure because it's nice.
It is like. It blew my mind. First of all, it blew away like expectations visually and everything. Like I thought it would look good, but some elements and that screen, like the resolution on it, the colors are so like nice and saturated and bright. And I think honestly, from this point on, if there is a mobile game, like I don't know, they did announce Shovel Knight for this, right? At the PlayStation event.
Yes.
So that's going to be a game that I play on the Vita. I've been playing Rogue Legacy, and I could see myself completely like any version of a platformer or something that comes out on the Vita. I think I would prefer to play it on the Vita now.
Yeah, Rogue Legacy is a phenomenal game, by the way.
So much. I don't know what it is, but that experience of just like playing it on the Vita is like a lot more satisfying, a lot more fun than even on the PC and everything. And I played it on the PC with a controller, but I don't know. I just feel like it's a criminally underrated system. Like it's so good. Like the interface is responsive. It's quick. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel like it's sluggish. The weight of the thing is just on point. You know what I mean? Like for handheld, it doesn't feel too light or too heavy. It's just right. I don't know. I'm really impressed by it. I've been having a ton of fun. I just started Persona 4 Golden, which is touted as like,
You'll be done by 2017.
Yeah, by the time 5 comes out, I'll be right in the
We had a lot of requests, actually. Did you guys see the Persona 5 trailer?
Yes.
That is like the sexiest looking trailer I've ever seen.
Yeah,
Dude, how do you make menus?
I know.
Cool? like how do you do that? Like how much sometimes in games we see like, oh, they didn't show any gameplay. These guys showed you menus. The audacity that you have to be like, let's just show the menus. That's how,
because they're so hot. I mean, like
they are. Like I was like, dude, look at those menus. like I got excited about the menus.
I think the sad part is that like it's so cool, but at the same time, it's so like such a small market that it's appealing to. I wish that team.
What Persona?
I think Persona 5 sells like way more than we think it.
What are you talking way more though? Like
that game sells easy.
But I'm just saying it's not a game that like imagine if they took that style into a more traditional game. They have artistry down so incredibly well, but at the same time, it's a 100-hour RPG.
Because I want them to keep it like their thing. You know what I mean? I think that there's nothing wrong about trying to appeal to everybody. You don't need to do that. You know what I mean? Like appeal to your demographic. And luckily for them, from what I understand, with Persona 4, I've seen more and more people who traditionally don't play JRPGs or RPGs for that matter
getting into it.
Tout Persona 4 is one of the best games ever. You know?
Right.
So
Zach,
with 5, you never know.
Zach, are you aware of how big this game already
is? I'm very aware of how big it is, and I know it has a very rabid fan base. I'm just and look, like 100-hour RPGs aren't my thing, so that's cool. I will play the game probably a little bit and appreciate it for that. For example, Catherine, you guys ever play that game?
Yes.
Hyper stylized game. It's polarizing for a lot of its content, but it took that style and put it into more of an action-driven game. I just like think about what if Persona, and I'm not saying every game should be killing guys or assassinating bosses, but I don't know. I just dream of a game having that much just crisp coolness. Like Assassin's Creed sure looks great, but to me Arno's like a dumb-looking guy, and his costume's dumb, and I'm like so sick of that look.
No, I like some of the stuff visually.
Yeah, but Persona already sells like 1 million copies first week and on its own.
I think the key is the reason why it has that crispness and everything is because the people working on it, that's what they want to make. You know what I mean?
Which is awesome. I'm just saying
that.
For me, it'd be cool if it expanded into other.
I don't know. I personally, for me, it's like if that's what they want to do, like if there's a group of people there passionate and say, hey, why don't we take this and make it more Western, you know what I mean, and kind of Westernize it, great.
And don't do it to Persona 5. Like, definitely make Persona 5 the juiciest RPG
do another project.
Yeah, or even a different studio. You know, we've seen some games that try to take that kind of very, whatever you want to call it, hyper-stylized anime approach to games, and typically the games don't turn out well. There's one that I'm thinking of that was a Suda 51 game a year ago that was so weird, and it just did not work.
What was the name of that?
You know what game I'm talking about? It got
Oh,
really like bad.
The one with the penis guns?
The one. What is it called?
Sorry.
Okay, so
Can we have a rewind of that? What did you just say? There's a game with what kind of gun?
Killer is Dead.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It was 2013 actually, but
that's the penis gun game.
Okay.
All the guns are references to penises.
Yeah.
Like,
no. That's Shadow.
Oh yeah, that's Shadow. Man.
What is that game called? Shadow. We're getting down a really weird road of gaming.
Okay.
Shadow's the Damned. Shadow's the Damned.
All right, that's the one I'm thinking about, where like your gun is called like the hot boner, and the other one, like one gun is actually shaped like a penis.
I'm just saying, like, okay, these games have so much charm. No More Heroes, Shadow's the Damned, even like Lollipop Chainsaw. But instead of making like these hyper like
anime
Japanese games, like what if they took that style and a Skyrim style game looked like that and oozed that much personality instead of war, medieval. That's like all we get.
Well, we have the Tales series. They're like super bright and super Japanese like, and they're RPG. Tales of Vesperia.
I'm saying, what if that style? Why can't it jump away from? Like, why doesn't someone in the West adopt that look? It's so.
Oh, I don't know. They can. I don't know. Maybe.
Persona 5, though,
it's like saying, like, why is anime not more popular, right? Like, it's like sometimes it takes a franchise like that, for example,
Attack on Titan.
which I'm pointing at Attack on Titan. That right there is what you're asking for. That's Skyrim right there. You
There
could
you
do
go.
that and
I
have a really polished game of that. So I mean, again, like I think that the key element is don't do it for the sake of doing it. You know what I mean? Like it has to be a studio that's what they would be passionate about. You know what I mean? Like a studio has to take that project and like, you know, really say, okay, we want to have this really stylized thing, but at the same time we want to keep it westernized in terms of gameplay or narrative or story, and do that. But I don't know. Persona 5 just looks insanely just polished, and I love seeing trailers like this where you can see the passion of the people working on it. You know what I mean? Like it just oozes right through the project, where you could just feel that the people that are working on this, they're just like, you know, working extra hours, whatever it is. Like it's truly art. You know, it's not just
Do you guys think that this game
business thing
gets a big slot at E3 for Sony? Like a sizable thing, or is it like an after the press conference press release?
I don't know if it gets a big slot, but you touched on this when you said that like Persona 4 Golden was like the first one that like sort of resonates with
yeah, and it sold very well on the Vita.
Yeah,
really well.
Yeah, so I think Persona 5 is the first. Persona's always been popular, but I think this one is the plateau. This will be the biggest Persona game. People like we haven't had the Persona 4 came out 8 years ago.
Yeah, well, they're always behind on their
their
development.
Like this is an 8-year-old sequel. Like
when did Golden come out?
2012, I believe.
Yeah, toward the launch of the Vita, but they have confirmed that it's going to be in North America and Japan by the end of 2015.
Yeah, I mean, it will come out in Japan first, obviously, which sucks. I hate that. But whatever.
I mean, they could
there is no chance they release it at the same time?
No.
They could. Why not?
Localizing it is not an easy task.
I know, but what if they did a global launch?
They're not. They've said that they're not.
Oh, they have. Okay.
Yeah, no. There has never been a global launch for a Persona game. Japan is their main audience. They sell 1 million there in the first week, which is very good for this team. And they want to get it out. That way they make some money, so they're able to localize it. We get it maybe 5-6 months after.
So, but with that basis, they don't have a lot of time left, because that means
that's why I think it's
has
going to
to
be
come
closer
out.
or similar time.
Yeah, no, it'll be closer. Like, you know, it's not going to be a year later. We'll get it a few months. Like, I'm sure someone is working on the localizing already.
But like, if they're saying that they're going to announce the release date at E3 in June, and both games are coming by the end of both versions are coming by the end of 2015, I mean, maybe you do a September, December release or something, or an August, October. But I could see them doing, hey, October 20 whatever, both. Like, if this is the one that they really want to be like Persona and like push it on American people, Western people, gamer people, then I think a global release would benefit them.
It would, but I just don't think they have the resources.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
unless Sony's slipping them cash and.
Well, no, they are, but that is some of their resources too. Like,
yeah,
Persona sells well, but it doesn't sell crazy well.
I think just the response to the trailer shows you the potential for this game, because
for sure.
it got really good coverage and highly viewed and retweeted and tweeted and got a good response. I think that maybe they even were surprised by how good the response was. So,
all right, Zach, I want to ask you this, because I don't have tons of experience with the Persona series. I've played some of Golden, but that's about it. I'm not like some veteran Persona player.
Yeah.
Does this make you want to go back and try to see what it's all about? Because
I have Golden on Vita, and
what about 1, 2, and 3? Would you even try?
No. I want to know what Golden. I want to know what 4 is all about. It's just like with Dragon Age Inquisition, like the investment, knowing that in order to get the juice out of it, I have to, like, me playing 10 hours is not going to do anything. I'm not going to get the experience. I'm not going to like it. I'm not going to know why people are raving over this trailer. And to know that, I also worry if this game is coming this year, like, maybe I save all of my RPG, I just let all that time build up and cash in on Persona 5 rather than trying to dump 70 hours into another one.
Yeah, it's definitely. I started it this week, like with my Vita. I bought that game. That was the game, the one physical game that I bought.
Yeah.
And I'm 2 hours in right now, like 2 hours and 15 minutes or so, and I've yet to experience like gameplay. You know what I mean? Like they throw you into these like little tutorial kind of things,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
but not like preview kind of things, not even a tutorial. But it's a really slow start for sure. But I think that what they do a really good job at is they know how to write human characters. You know what I mean? Like I don't know, they do a great job of not making it feel over anime. You know what I mean? Like so far, my experience has been that they definitely do a decent job of humanizing the characters. Yes, it has that kind of anime influence, which to me I like, so I'm okay with that. But I know could maybe affect some people. But they also don't do it like ham-fisted, where it's like completely wacky and over the top and ridiculous. They do a good job of keeping the characters grounded and keeping them human, which so far I've been invested enough to just figure out who these characters are and what is this mystery that occurs very early on. Like this murder, and how is this, like, what is causing all this? So
it's got a really good initial pull. You just have a lot of rope to walk before you get to the what's on the end of that rope, the end of that pole. Dragon Ball Z, or Dragon Ball Xenoverse, is another anime-inspired
Find out next week on Can't Stop Playing.
That came out this week, and
I'm sorry, I can't believe we have a name.
Woo! Let's just give ourselves a little
Max
round of
just
applause
said
here.
that, and like I was still like doing this thing like
tears coming down. Tears
like we
of
have
joy.
a name, man. Like it's been a few weeks. Like, all right.
Thank you. Thank you guys for participating in the
the straw
to
poll.
the
Like,
side. Yeah.
Zach was supposed to take it down, but he left it up.
I took it down. It's vanished now, but I appreciate that. No, it's always good to get feedback, and you guys have been great about submitting stuff. One thing that we've tried to kind of point out, but I want to make a concrete point right now, is if you guys have questions, like it doesn't have to be a comment based on the order or Dragon Ball Xenoverse, but if you have a question, like definitely submit that. We're going to set up a separate email address that you can send those in very soon. But for now, put those questions in the comments section, and we will definitely be answering those, as well as like feedback. Like you don't have to say, I think the order is BS. You could say, what do you guys think about, Halo 5 versus Uncharted 4? Whatever your question is, you want to ask us a question, about what you should get your mom for Mother's Day. Like, we're
the experts.
We're the experts. So definitely send those in.
Obviously.
Dragon Ball Xenoverse, though, give us the goods.
I've played. I made a short video for it, like a let's try kind of thing, like just quick impressions. First thing that blew me away about the game is the character creator. Like, it was way cooler than I thought it was going to be. Like, my expectations going into it, I was like, it's probably going to be like, very basic, kind of change the color of the outfit and that's it. But it's a lot more in depth than I thought. You get to pick a race, a specific subclass, so you could be like a Namekian, Boo, or a Majin.
Yeah.
You could be, I think, Earthling.
There's
Saiyan.
human, Saiyan, Namekian, Majin, and Frieza, which I didn't know Frieza was a race, but
yeah.
apparently it is.
Yeah. So, but within that, it's like you can get into really goofy characters, or the opposite of that, very serious and stuff. They have different abilities and different specific things that they benefit from. So some have lower health and higher attack speed and so on and so forth. So the character customizer is really great. But the thing that really surprised me is that after I got done recording, I then continued to play and stuff. And since then, I don't know, maybe a few hours, because I haven't had the game for too long yet. But it does a really good job of doing the exploration stuff, because there's a little system where you fly around, you collect items, and then you go to your destinations.
It's still the fighting game, like the sort of arena fighter that it's always been.
Yeah. Well, once you get to the fight.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but between the fights, there's you
more
explore
stuff
around.
this time.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's kind of like those older Budokai games, if you remember those, which I have a soft spot for sure. But they
I remember renting those at Blockbuster when the show was on, and being like, oh my god, we got to go reenact that battle and make it happen.
Blockbuster,
exactly.
man.
Oh man, it's obviously a nostalgia, just basically nostalgia bomb of just awesomeness, and that
it looks
music,
so good.
It's 60 frames per second, I'm pretty sure, because it runs very, very, very crisp, and the fighting is super fast. Really, really good in that regard. I will say that it's a little bit sometimes. I'm concerned about online battles because of the fact that you get to fly around. I'm wondering if there's going to be an issue of your opponent's just trolling you and flying around all the time and trying to avoid the actual matchup. So that certainly could be an issue. I think. I'm not sure. I haven't played it yet online. But again, tons of fun, super duper colorful. So if you love colorful games, but at the same time games that have like more serious tones and stuff like that, so it's there for you. And the story is pretty not super in depth. I mean, if you know Dragon Ball Z, you know what kind of stories to expect. It's usually here's a bad guy, fight the bad guy. But here they did kind of a different thing of where history is getting reshaped, and you have to go through the history. Like fighting the Ginyu Force and
the crystal thing in the beginning where you do like a little bit of it each one. So
yeah.
Does,
and then you come back around with your character.
Does the fighting have merits beyond button mashing? Like, is there? Yeah. It's no Street Fighter, but does it feel like you're actually able to sort of get a handle on the battle?
I think it's very similar to like Devil May Cry, which sounds maybe like a weird comparison.
That's an interesting
what I mean by that is like you can get through it button mashing, but there is depth. Like if you want to get invested in, like even in my like first impressions thing, like at first my first fight was just like bash bash bash. Then the second fight I started, okay, how do I tie in my kicks and soft attacks with the strong attacks, and then maybe finish off with like a Kamehameha or something like that. So it's like, and it rewards you because obviously you just feel cooler. It's a neater combo, more points. And the same thing then into the last battle, I tied it in with like actually blocking, timing my blocks, grabbing the enemy. So it's like it's got depth, but at the same time, it's still friendly to people who want to just button mash through it.
I think the hilarious best part of this game is that you're creating these like epic characters at the start, and you're like designing their gis or whatever their outfits are called, and then the music is like do 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 do. It's like this like elevator music in the background as you're making this like world warrior that's gonna go blow up mountains. And they got this music.
Man, why is no one reviewing this? I'm looking at the Metacritic right now. It's at a 71. Like there's like maybe 10 reviews total, and none of them are of anyone.
I think a lot of sites are skipping over it because it's like it caters to the Dragon Ball Z fan base. They're gonna buy it, and I don't know if it has much reach beyond that.
Like the biggest site that's reviewed is IGN Spain, and other than that, you have like Hobby Consolas, you have 3D Juegos, like not even American ones. Like I don't know, every i.it, it's a .it website, and their reviews on Metacritic. I don't know, it's just weird that nobody's reviewing it.
It's definitely like, look, don't get me wrong, it's not like the greatest thing since sliced bread or anything. It's for me.
What about the greatest thing since whole bread?
Whole bread's pretty good.
What if you don't eat bread? Then what?
It's not the greatest thing since gluten free.
There you go.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
But it's definitely like nostalgia galore. You know what I mean? It's got the music. The cutscenes have like really gorgeous, well done animation.
Did it throw you off that like some of the voice actors are just not even close?
Trunks. I was like, what?
Cell started talking, and I was like,
yeah.
What? Like what? But it's.
I'm
excited to try it out. I'm definitely gonna get some time with this week.
It's just a fun game. Like again, for me, it's more about just the element of nostalgia. So it's like I'm obviously gonna be biased about it, like why I like it, and
we're at this like just great point where variety is seemingly at a maximum. You've got The Order, which is an incredibly cinematic, linear, beautiful game. You've got Resident Evil Revelations, which is like this action, episodic thing. You've got Dragon Ball Z, which is catering to a super specific nostalgia bomb of a fan base. I played a lot of Kirby this week, Kirby and the Rainbow Curse, which again is a totally different style of game than any of these. That one, by the way, have either of you guys played it?
I played like the first maybe 45 minutes of it.
Okay.
The stylus control, man. Like it's off-putting a little bit, and there's so many games to play. I have like 7 games that I'm playing right now.
It's like a crate. All of a sudden, it got so busy. But Kirby is a. It reminds me.
It's an awesome series.
Yes, but this one in particular, just sort of. Nintendo's game design shines through here because it's one of those games that on the. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I feel like he's become like Nintendo's test dummy. Like know what I mean? They just
Yoshi and him got like put in a crate and they're like, dudes, we're gonna experiment on you.
Yoshi Yarn came out after Kirby, right? Epic, like the Yarn game, right? So it's like Yeah.
It's sort of like, I mean, maybe we should call PETA, because the Mario characters they're boxing up the creatures, the Kirbys and the Yoshis, and forcing them to mutilate their bodies in clay. But this game, like, it borrows from Mario 3D World in the sense that on the surface level, a 6-year-old could play this game and probably have a great time and probably get through it. But if you want to dive deeper, similar in Mario 3D World, if you want to get the stamps, the stars, there is that opportunity, and then the gameplay, like, just steps it up 5, 6, 7 levels, because you see the creativity and the ingeniousness and the difficulty in the design. These simple things of drawing, what you're doing in this game is drawing ropes basically for Kirby to roll on. You have no direct control over him, and you're using a stylus on the gamepad. Off-putting because you're never looking at the TV, you're looking at the gamepad, but it uses the gamepad finally in like a really clever way. And so it seems simple. Oh, the first level I think is incredibly boring. You draw Kirby through like this little forest and he gets the goal. Man, once you hit World 2, though, it totally changes, and it reminds me a lot of Yoshi's Island in the sense that that game took risks every level and did something different. Like, Kirby's a tank now. Kirby's digging through whatever. Walls are collapsing on Kirby. You're fighting a boss. And you have to use the ropes all of a sudden to be shields. So, like, you're going through waterfalls, and if Kirby hits the water, he just splats the ground. So you got to use your ropes now to block the water and then use another rope to guide Kirby. It's really cool to see how a simple little thing expands upon itself, and if you want to get more out of it, you can, or if you want to be like, hey, I mean, it did the thing. I died 3 times on the second boss, and it's like, would you like to skip this level? And you can just hit yes and auto beat the level. So it's catering to a very wide range of people, which I think is
I also heard
few games do.
I heard that apparently this game has, though, like, stepped it up a little bit in difficulty. So, like, the actual difficulty of the levels is a little bit higher than previous Kirby games, because the thing that Kirby has been known for, especially over the last few years, is being a very, very simple game. Like,
Epic Yarn, like, that's the perfect personification of that. Like, it's,
but still good. Like, that's the thing.
For sure.
Like, when you play that, it's like, it's really, I think it's like Nintendo 101, you know, of like just ridiculously satisfying gameplay, just fundamentals, like responsive and everything, and they do that, they nail that always with Kirby. But apparently this one's stepped up a little bit the actual difficulty, which is something I'm excited for. For me, Kirby is like, it's, I guess, maybe like a guilty pleasure kind of thing, where I don't know why, but for some reason I just find all of those games just awesome. Like, all of his games I find to be really, really fun. The only reason why I haven't played it is because these kinds of games is like I have to like dedicate like a day to it, where it's like that's going to be the only game that I play.
And it's $40, so I think like the complaint of like, oh, you have to look at the gamepad. I mean, it looks great both ways, gamepad and TV. I try to do like the look at the TV and not look at my hand, but it's really hard to do that.
But it's at a price point of a 3DS game, so
it's exotic looking. I think for that alone, like the way that they make that world look. I mean, the Wii U is not the strongest system, but this game, it has charm isn't even the right word, because it's so. I don't want to just use like keywords that you find in the back of the box, but having everything feel like it's a claymation movie and the way that things react. The example I'll give you is there's a section where walls are crumbling. And the way that the wall doesn't fall like flat on you, it sort of like peels off itself and then bends, kind of like how clay would, get hot or something and like cave in on itself. Man, like I know people made fun of the E3 conference where there were 2 Asian dudes sitting there messing with yarn or whatever. I think the interesting thing as well is I expected this game, like you said, to be super easy, and I come into it and it surprises me with multiple levels of intrigue. Yoshi's Woolly World, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
I played that game at E3 and thought it was the stupidest game ever. So I'm now hopeful that game may have multiple layers as well. But it is. I do like the fact that they said, hey, we're going to appeal to both the people that like just run through the levels without much, many obstacles, and also they've got this challenge mode. They've got these treasure chests you have to collect. They've got medals. They've got secret diaries. So it's doing sort of that collect-a-thon thing that Mario 3D World forced you to not only find because, they're hidden, but they test your skills to find them. Like, you have to do – I mean, there are challenge rooms in the levels. I think I've beat 1 out of, 8. They give you 15 seconds to do some pretty tricky stuff. It feels more, honestly, like Donkey Kong Country Returns, Tropical Freeze, those games, in the sense that easy premise, but man, do they really punish you at some points.
Yeah.
So buy it. It's great.
Yeah, and I hope to play it more this week, but like I said, man, it's like 7 games right now that we're trying to get through, and it's tough. But Kirby definitely has a place in my heart.
February, March is becoming like the new October, November.
Yeah, and granted, none of these are humongous. Like ScreamRide, which I'll get into in a little bit. Like that's the one that's been taking up my most time because it's super fun.
What is that? I haven't heard of that.
All right, well, I guess we'll get into it now. ScreamRide, it's coming out on Xbox One, and I believe it's on 360 as well.
Yeah.
It's from the makers of Roller Coaster Tycoon and what was that other game that they did, Zach?
It is made Frontier Developments, and they have made.
Did they do the Zoo one that came out on launch?
Yeah, they're actually the studio that was responsible for Zoo Tycoon, which was the Xbox One, like one of the launch games.
All right, so but this it has like three aspects to it. You either ride roller coasters, which I'll get into that in a little bit. The other one is you build roller coasters, and the other aspect is just destroying roller coasters. And from what I hear, the destruction in this game is sort of what is going to be in Crackdown 2, as far as destruction goes.
3.
That game.
Yeah, 3, or Crackdown, whatever they end up calling it. My bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I heard people talking that like, the destruction modeling here is being implemented as a test bed for a full city of it in Crackdown 3.
Yeah, which would be amazing. The destruction here is awesome. I think. All right, so I'll get into. All right, so writing it right, you have an objective of, first of all, complete the level. You get through it without having all your like people riding the roller coaster just falling and like dying mostly, although it's like super like family friendly. But you have these side objectives such as reach this speed, use your full boost without like derailing. I don't know. I'm blanking out, but there's objectives, right? To like get your gold medal for each one of these.
You're not just like, how if you go to like an arcade and there's those machines where you can like sit in and ride a roller coaster. You're like, whoa, it's cool. There's actually things to do, so you are responsible for making sure this car runs properly, doesn't fall off the track, gets the boost where it needs to. They've implemented almost like a Trials, the motorcycle game.
Yeah,
like that
and that's what this reminded me of, especially that first section, which is just riding them. Like hitting each objective that you need to hit to get that gold ribbon, and you don't have to hit them all at one time. So each ride, you target one goal. So
really? I didn't know that.
No. So all right. So if one of the goals is to reach like 150 miles an hour, just focus that one ride on just reaching that. Forget about doing all the other objectives for now. You can come back. You restart the level at any time by pressing down on the D-pad. So it definitely has a Trials infused element going on there. But riding is just so fun, like hitting the boost, timing it perfectly, getting the bonus for having the good start, stuff like that. It just, because it can easily just be a game where, look, you're riding a roller coaster, look at the camera, just go left and right, but it's more than just that, because it depends on you to be doing things constantly, and you have to do them in a timely manner. Like to get the boost, there's like a blue section in the track, and you have to time the button at the right time to get the most boost possible. And you want that boost because you need it to go faster, which is sometimes one of the objectives. Also, to make sure that you like make some of those like incline. Wait, what's not decline? Incline is the one that's going up. What do you call that?
Yeah,
like it's
incline.
instead of a decline. What's the opposite of a decline? That's basically what I'm asking. All right, whatever. All right, so you're going up, and you need to make sure that you have enough speed to get up there. So you got to have that boost, and to have that boost, you got to time everything else perfectly. And I might not be doing a super good job of like saying why it's fun, but stylistically, it's super awesome. There's no.
I think that it's got.
This is a downloadable game, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, wait, it's $40.
Yeah, it's $40. And
wait, this is $40.
Oh,
it's a $40 game, which surprises the heck out of everybody that I tell that to.
Dude,
I thought that this was like a $10, $15.
No, it is worth the $40.
It is a retail game at $40. You can buy this in stores on Amazon at $40, $30 for 360, $40 for. It's coming out in a box, which I had no idea.
I
thought
no
this
idea
was
either.
the Summer of Arcade lineup with Ori and the Blind Forest and but no, this is a box $40 game.
It's worth it?
Wait, there's 2 other modes.
Yeah, like that's
okay.
one mode. You're not only riding the roller coasters. You have a destruction mode, which is basically the burnout mode. What the hell is it called?
This sounds like a YouTuber's like dream game.
It is. Yeah.
The game is really, really, really fun. I've played maybe 12 hours, and I've I've played 12 hours.
You put 12 hours into riding roller coasters?
No, but Max, let me just clarify for you. So the riding roller coasters thing just taps into a fun
gameplay.
Youthfulness of it sounds so dumb at first, but there's something they capture the momentum really good. But there's also a roller coaster building mode where you can build roller coasters and have people ride them, and then you can ride them. And then there is a destruction mode that's reminiscent of Super Monkey Ball or what was that game? God, this is not. It wasn't a quality game, but it was a PS3 downloadable game towards the launch, like Pain or something, where you'd launch people through cities. I think it was called Pain, but you're launching poor riders in these balls or different contraptions into buildings and blowing them up. And
yeah, so you're almost like a demolition ball.
It's not a tech demo. There's a lot to it.
Okay.
All right, and okay, all right, 12 hours. And
Jesus, the destruction in this game looks awesome.
It is, and it's 12 hours.
It looks like Lego pieces.
And let me clarify, that's 12 hours in the first world only, because there's over 50 something actual levels. I've done the first 6 of each, and that took me 12 hours because I want to get the gold one on each of them, and some of them are not easy to do whatsoever. It took me a while to get the hang of the actual building of the roller coaster.
If you fail, what happens? Do you fly off the?
Yeah, you fly off the stuff. One of the really cool Zach had one of these, right, where you finish the level and then the guy that was on the roller coaster lands on top of the girl that was on the roller coaster, and there's a kiss going on, but
they've got a little bit of clever comedy in there. It's not just, oh, these are sort of crash dummies, they die. They'll crash, and then it gets, like Gabe said, a close-up scene of the guys on top of the girl awkwardly, and then they step away. It's got some humor to it and some charm.
The narrator, man, she has
GLaDOS.
Yeah, exactly. It's one
of those games I think that on paper you're like, what the F is this, and why would I play it? But then you see it in action, and it's they took a very unique concept and somehow executed in a bunch of different ways, and all of a sudden, I think it's so important to bring focus to things like Resident Evil Revelations 2, Kirby and the Rainbow Curse, ScreamRide, because
Frozen Fever. Sorry.
What's Frozen Fever?
That's the new Frozen movie. They just released a trailer today.
Frozen 2? Or it's called Frozen Fever?
Yeah.
So she's going to get a fever, and then, oh my god. Anyways.
Okay.
Elsa and hype. But anyways, the variety of the game industry is really... It's so visible right now, and I hope that these games, it's a $40 game doing something totally crazy, and according to Gabe, I've only played the demo, but it sounds like it's super successful.
And the levels get so much more intricate. The demo gives you the first one of each, right?
Right.
But once you get to World 2, 3, 4, and 5, each one of them is different, and you're doing a thing. The destruction one, those get so insane. There's hover, there's a little platform, right? You aim for it. You have to be very precise with the aiming, because if you overshoot it, then you're in the water. All right, so you aim, you're hovering there. That gives you the ability to aim it in another direction. So you go from point A to point B, which gives you a different layout of the actual level. So instead of just looking at the things in front of you, you shoot the hover thing. Now you're looking at the stuff behind you, and then there's other platforms. There's targets that give you extra points. The stuff gets super, super intricate. And all right, no, I don't want to spoil certain things. Not that this is a story-based game, but I want people to play it and be surprised as I was by some of these things, because I really wasn't expecting this. I was like Max, man, this sounds dumb. But I heard the coverage of it was super positive. Microsoft.
Yeah, I'm surprised it was a $40 game, because the way you were describing it at first, it sounded to be honest, Goat Simulator or I Am Bread or one of those kind of.
Oh no, this is nothing like that.
But I think that they decided to make a more hardcore game. You might think, oh, this is a Kinect thing, wave your arms in the air, fly off, haha. But no, it's actually taking a very fun thing with roller coasters and then gamifying it and making it pretty like Gabe has been describing. There's challenges, there's medals, there's scores. It's not just a goof off fest. Even though I'm sure it's going to.
He got more hours out of ScreamRide than The Order.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I love ScreamRide. I was last time I played. I was currently number 4 on the worldwide leaderboard. Not a lot of people have the game.
That's why he loves it.
The game's not out until March.
Yeah, there's 5 people that have the game.
No, a decent amount of people have the game. There's like hundreds.
It's coming out March 1st, right?
March 3rd?
Oh,
I don't know.
Okay.
Whatever that Tuesday is, March 3rd.
Yeah, it's the first. It's the first Tuesday of March.
Next Tuesday.
Yeah, but man, Max, this one would fit well with your channel, right? Like, fun screen thing.
It looks like I love the fact that when it blows up, it looks like Lego pieces.
Yeah, I want you to try it just so you can better articulate what makes the game fun, because I'm sitting here trying to think of what makes it fun, but man, it's so rewarding. Some of those challenges are not easy, and I don't like. This is such a cliche, right? But I literally did this type thing. I pumped my fist because I got the gold level.
I think it's honestly because it's gamifying something that is inherently fun to most people. Like roller coasters is a joyful, adrenaline rush, fun thing. They've captured that momentum and feeling of it, and then gamified it to make it where you want to keep playing. And they didn't do sort of the kid game route of ride the roller coasters and see if you can spot the penguin. It's got trials, it's got some other things like burnout, like you mentioned, and so it's taking a creative, fun concept and then implementing game mechanics that a lot of people get addicted to and successfully, and then that works really well and surprises you because it's not something you thought would be worth $40.
Preview embargo is tomorrow, so tomorrow I have a few videos that'll go up, and I haven't made the videos yet, but hopefully I can better articulate what makes this so good. In those videos, but right now
it'll just be 20 minutes of Gabe going yeah,
yeah, see, because it's so hard. How do you explain the fact that when you're writing this,
fun?
Yeah,
that's it.
I mean,
I honestly, again, like I said, I think that when you talk about it, it really sounds like something that should be $10-15.
Yeah.
It sounds like that kind of. But now that I'm looking at gameplay, as you guys were speaking, I looked up a few different trailers and different gameplay showcases. It looks interesting.
And again, the things get complex. You have to take into account the momentum when you're writing, so you have to manage your boost. There's a lot of things, and also you get extra points for doing a wheelie with your roller coaster. So if you're on 2 wheels, you get more points for that, but being on 2 wheels makes it that much more likely that you're going to derail, and that takes so much time away from you, and that actually has
and on the bright side, it's rated E for everyone, so it's not there's no gore or anything.
No, it's super cartoony, super fun.
You know what I mean? You could still enjoy it with your family and stuff like that, so that's nice. It sounds like it might be kind of a rated E for everyone version of very obviously polished, but what I mean is it could be very similar experience to Happy Wheels, what it has had on YouTube.
That's interesting.
Goofy and
Does it have
situation.
couch multiplayer?
I don't know. I've only done the campaign stuff.
It does have multiplayer though, right?
Yeah, it does. It does, but I haven't touched it. It does say campaign, but there's no real story. Like we said, the narrator has a GLaDOS type thing where she's making fun of the fact that all these people are sort of just tests for these roller coasters, and she makes quips "Oh, we haven't had that many people get hurt doing this."
Surprisingly, the game does not feature multiplayer
at all.
No, it says it has leaderboards, but no. I think that's
it must have
humongous miss.
Why would you not do map sharing?
Is that not a thing? I thought it was. I don't know. I haven't touched it.
Level sharing has to be in there for sure. If you can build levels, you have to be able to share them.
You do build levels. I've built some. They're not great.
I mean, that would be a weird thing if they didn't let you share levels. Because just imagine the community you could build off of that, right? With people sharing their crazy roller coasters.
Yeah, I haven't messed with the other modes. You have another mode. I just don't know what it's. Here, I could turn on the Xbox. I don't know what it's called. The first one's campaign. The other one,
destruction. You said.
Yeah, there's a lot of destruction. The destruction
campaign, and then you said building. No.
Well, no, but that's all in the campaign. All that is just.
Oh, okay.
Why does this game not have multiple? I'm so taken aback all of a sudden.
Hold on.
Jack is bewildered. Look at him.
I fall off the track.
He looks more confused than King DDD.
Derailed.
Man, but it's $40, huh? I didn't even know that.
I didn't know that.
Yo, I should have read the email a little bit better. But no, but this game is worth it. Like from what I've played already, I would easily pay $40 for this.
Doesn't it just like it's the perfect multiplayer game? Why would you not let people compete against each other, destroying the buildings? It can't be hard to like take turns. You're not doing split screen. None of that. Just take turns.
All right, so they have career and they have sandbox. All right, sandbox says create your own incredible coasters, rides, and scenery. Turn them into fully playable levels, or just experiment for fun.
Shit.
Damn.
There's no word share in there?
No share. All right, I didn't. Maybe it's coming.
How do you not share levels on this?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Level center. Share your creations with the world.
There we go.
And again,
Okay, so it does have that, even though it doesn't have traditional multiplayer like we would like.
Well, dude, it would be silly if they let you build levels and not share them.
Yeah. Okay, Zach, but how awesome would it be? You played the destruction mode, right? I don't even know that's technique. All right, to have a multiplayer thing, like an online multiplayer where we both have the exact same objectives, but it's just about who can finish it quicker.
I know, and then like score-based modes, or
that'd be so awesome.
I don't know why, like. That's like such a weird choice to me, because this game seems like right from the start you'd be like, multiplayer is going to be our selling point, getting people to laugh and play and enjoy this together, and crash these coasters, build each other, race. You could do so much, and maybe it was just a development thing. Maybe it was that they wanted to make this a smaller. It is $40.
I fell down on the leaderboard. No.
Oh no, Gabe.
All right, out of
4th to 58.
No, out of 320 people, I'm currently number 9.
Oh, that's pretty good. Dude. Top 10.
I'm gonna stay in that top 10. I'm proud of it, man.
You got to get a tattoo. Top 10 rider.
10 out of 10. That was another name.
By the way, just as an update, because you guys had me all giddy over Disney animated movies, Frozen Fever is a short film.
Yeah.
I want a full movie.
But yeah, okay. Look, apparently you can share the levels and stuff, and you can download new levels.
Let it go. Did you see what I did there?
Hey, I'm trying to keep it with the ScreamRide before we move on to something else. But yeah, you can download other people's levels. You can just play them, and you can probably edit their levels, make them that much better. Man, ScreamRide, it's worth the $40. Max, I'm gonna give you their email so you can ask them, see if maybe you can get in on this.
So I'm gonna give.
I want to check it out. Like it seems like a perfect for video, like, you know what I mean, like funny accidents and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a blast. We can move on from ScreamRide now. Sorry.
No, stay on it. This is the Screamcast. That's our name, the Screamcast. I wanted to quickly give a. I'm gonna keep it under 60 seconds. You guys can time me. My Evolve minute. I played an Evolve tournament. That game at that level, when it has that kind of tension and that amount of skill.
We played in an Evolve.
Gabe was there. It all of a sudden.
Wait, Gabe was on your team?
Yeah. It becomes like a monster of a game. I know that when you don't have coordination, we don't have friends, it feels like it's falling apart, and maybe it's not like for you. But if you're able to play that game with a group of people, holy, it's just so great. And I got to be careful, but as they expand that game, I'm really excited and hopeful that it's going to win back the public, and I hope that they're able to maintain a community and maintain some steam, even if they lost so much because of the DLC. And it's just weird to me that, we were talking about February and March are such. I'm done with Evolve, by the way. February and March were really great months.
Nice segue, Zach, by the way.
Smooth.
Thank you.
Kept it right at him.
By the way, I'm done with Evolve. Let's move on.
February and March are like really great months, and I think from a gamer perspective, you gotta love like Evolve, The Order, all that stuff. And I find it weird that maybe they're bitter over Gamersgate, or I don't know, but like that the press has been so punchy lately with The Order, Evolve, like. Are they
the press loves ScreamRide for whatever that's worth?
Yeah, that's true. I just like, are they in their winter doldrums or what?
Yeah, controversy sells.
That's true. I was telling Gabe, like, they make an article saying the order is only, whatever, blah, 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 and then they're going to make an article saying, because we made an article on the order being this, it did blah, blah, blah. Like, it's just like a compound.
Yeah, I made a joke that, like, Kotaku or something would have an article saying...
What are you watching, Gabe? Is that Dragon Ball Z?
Oh, I forgot.
Hold on. Gabe, the whole time, what saga are you on? What saga? Frieza?
Whenever I turn the Xbox One on, my TV turns on.
You just got the Dragon Ball Z channel.
Yeah, I gotta just like it's like way back here. All right, so the TV's back there, and that's what you were seeing the glare off of.
It looked like a fight scene.
It was. I don't know what it was, honestly. But, yeah, that's what the glare was.
Cool.
I don't know, man. The press, it's a weird thing. And I don't consider us press, thankfully. Like, a lot of people consider what we do, like, press stuff. And sort of, maybe. But I think that we... Well, I can speak for me. I can't speak for any of you guys. Like, the clickbait stuff is not something like I do, and that seems to be more and more what the press is going towards, unfortunately. Like, whatever. What are you gonna do?
They gotta pay the bills.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just hope, in general, like, I think this past week there was a cool thing that happened with like Thank a Creator thing.
Yeah. What's this?
I'm sure you got tweets of people saying there was a hashtag going around, Thank a Creator. I'm not sure if a YouTuber started it. I'm pretty sure. I want to say it was Boogie29 something.
Yeah.
88.
2988, I think.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure he started. I'm not 100% sure, but basically it was like a cool thing of just reach out and thank the creators that, like, you enjoy their stuff. And cool. So that came from a gaming place, which is really cool and neat. And I just hope that over time we could have a more civilized, happier, and just generally speaking more reasonable community, you know what I mean, of people that don't so much jump to conclusions or on the basis of your opinion being different from mine or something like that, start right away attacking the person.
And I was thinking about that too, because the gaming community seems to be so toxic, right? That's the presence that
a lot of
I know. That's what I was gonna get into. That's the presence that on Twitter, like, gaming is toxic right now, and I'm hoping that this is sort of just what has to happen before we become more united, less volatile, less volatile towards each other.
I mean, I can speak on that because I've been someone who I can get pretty darn critical and pretty darn, like, focusing on the negative side of things, and just sort of with the order had an epiphany of, like, you know what, you could totally frame this game as a piece of shit, or you could frame this game as a beautiful, fun story, and it's like, I don't want to get too preachy, but it's like, how do you want to live your life? Do you want to constantly be looking at every mistake, every error, every fault, every negative bit, or do you want to say, hey, I'm going to take the fun I have? You can still critique. I mean, I critique things because I love them and want them to be better. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's like, man, the world is a pretty good place. Games are a great thing, and for every horrible, botched Assassin's Creed faces falling off, there's a ScreamRide that surprises the heck out of you, and it's like, I wish that sort of that fun. And maybe the bottom line is everyone needs more sleep. When I get more sleep, I'm way happier.
That was out of left field, I'll admit. I was like, that's a good point. I agree. Wait, did he just say everyone needs more sleep?
Yeah. See, like, that's the thing, man. Like, I hope all this Gamergate stuff, all these, like, broken games, all this hostility towards creators because they don't do exactly what we want them to, I hope it leads to something beautiful. And gaming has always been beautiful to me, and it always will be, I think. But we just need to, like Zach said, just focus a little bit more on what's positive, and not everything needs to be like a sensationalized, like, story about studios failing. And
at the end of the day, I think, like, look, I know that because the problem is when you say that kind of thing, like, focus on the good stuff, it's gaming, blah, 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 there's going to be a crowd of people that right away with pitchforks and torches,
and that's fine.
Rises up and says, but I'm a consumer, I'm allowed to do and say, like, whatever I want to say about it. Which,
and you are.
Yes, you are 100% correct. That's not what we're saying. All we're saying is that if there's a game that you don't like, that doesn't mean that now you have the right and go and attack the person that made it. You know what I mean? Like, yes, you can say, this game sucks, or this game is terrible, or it's not worth my $60. And that's it. Like, that's all you need to say about it if you don't like it. You know what I mean?
There's this mentality that the way change will be brought about is by tearing apart the things we don't like, and should be building up the things that we do. And that then, promoting a game like ScreamRide, or promoting a game like Life is Strange. I don't know why I keep on saying it. It's called Don't Strange, but Don't Nod. Like, giving those games Don't Starve. That's a great game as well. Yep. Giving those games an opportunity to shine is maybe a better use of our time than, oh my God. I mean, let's be honest. Ready at Dawn and the Order were not coming out to screw people over. They didn't do some like cheap bait and switch. They weren't trying to like milk you for money. They made a game, and you can buy it or not buy it. But this wasn't a case where, oh my God, Activision came in and was like, we're gonna get real sketchy with you here. They made a game, and I think people, you either appreciate it or don't. But we're YouTubers. I'm sure you've all experienced this. You get people that come in and comment and say, I hate this video. Why aren't you playing more of whatever? And it's like, you don't have to watch it. Like if you're not into that thing, that's fine. Like, why are people so determined to dedicate time to the things they don't like? You're sacrificing time that you could be spending on what you do like.
That's a big philosophical thing.
Yeah, and it made me sad. Like yesterday or earlier today, like Tim Schafer. I think it was him. I really hope it was. But some developer, I think, and I'm fairly certain it was Tim Schafer from Double Fine.
Yeah, he just stood up for Peter Molyneux recently.
Well, besides that, he also, I think it was, man, I really do hope it's him. But he tweeted out that, man, we were having a meeting, and we asked what was the most positive, like, game, like, story of 2014, and nobody said it. Like, nobody could think of one. Like, can you think of a single positive story, like, that was predicated by Game Press in 2014? Like, everything is always so negative, and everything is always just so, like...
Well, I think everything to do with Child's Play is always cool. I think that's the one weekend that, like, gamers come together, right? Like, every year. And
yeah.
You do the streams, and... I mean, what was it?
I think it is hard.
$2 million this year was raised this past year.
It's hard when, like, there aren't a lot of great games, and you feel like, man, these people could be doing a better job. 2014 was.
By the way, Zach, you're gonna get hate for that. You know that, right? Because there was 2 or 3 comments last podcast at the beginning who said that Zach wasn't a bad year.
I know. Okay,
but a terrible year. My bad.
Once again, perspective.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
You know what I mean? In the perspective of somebody who plays over 50 games a year.
Yeah.
It was a terrible year. Somebody who plays 3 games a year, Call of Duty, FIFA, Madden, are all good. It's a good year.
Rudra Bharat, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right, just basically summarized all of our thoughts, so I'm going to let this person finish it off. It's truly a shame what gaming has come to now. All we see are people getting excessively hyped for games and then becoming extremely disappointed. Ladies and gentlemen, next gen does not only mean instant 60 frames per second, 1080p open world, incredible gameplay, amazing story, 10 out of 10. There's no such thing as a perfect game, and at this point there have been some amazing titles that are available for you to enjoy. Time after time, games are being released and are met with insanely negative reception from the community. People are upset about DLC, how much content for your money, frame rate, graphics, exclusivity, to the point where they're no longer even able to enjoy the games. Already, less than 3 months into the year, 2 major next-gen titles have been released and have flopped within the press. Let's hope that the rest of the titles this year do not follow in the same path, or 2015 will be exactly like 2014. I just like how,
you
know, we're already off to a great start.
Yeah.
And 2 things with that, by the way. There is a perfect game. It's called A Link to the Past. But besides that, I don't think Evolve flopped. Like
no, I think he means like from like a community reception.
Sure, but it reviewed well.
Yeah.
Who knows how it sold, but.
Well, I don't know. Zach said that they're selling really well, right? Like the DLC and everything is doing super well.
And without getting too whatever, like the new stuff is not that far off. It's not like they're not Telltale. They're not gonna wait.
Shots fired.
And Zach had his Evolve minute. I'll take a minute too, and you can also.
Here we go.
All right, it'll be another minute.
What's your minute?
I've completely done a 360 on Evolve. Like I love that game now. Like every time I play with Zach, and that tournament thing, it was a super great experience.
How'd you guys do, by the way?
Lost the first match.
Okay, good.
Well, all of a sudden, you're playing against randoms on Xbox Live, and then you run into people who are playing 10 hours a day, and you're like, we need to be practicing against these people, not against the kid who's running in circles.
On Xbox Live, like we were like on a 10-game winning streak. Like we don't really lose when we play against random people, but when we're playing against like professionals, then of course.
Do you want to give a little, just like a quick recap of how our battle went, just like what happened? Or you want me to do it?
All right. Yeah, go ahead. The minute got extended in, so go ahead.
So basically it was a best of 3. You play Monster, then you play Hunters, and then back to Monster. So our team, we got to choose, and we chose to be Hunters. And so we lost in the first round to a Kraken on Aviary. Then I played Kraken and had my favorite Evolve match ever and beat them. And then it went to the final round, Kraken again, and we were the 4 Hunters. And we were like right on the cusp of taking this guy out, and it had like a great setup. And it was one of those things where, you know how sometimes like everything just goes wrong all at once. Like, one of those days where, your shoe rips, it starts raining, you have to walk home, like your dog died, everything just goes wrong.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, just like the whole civilization collapsed and we were just knocked out. But it was such a that's something to think about as well. If I don't know who reviewed it for IGN, one of those people from IGN, and I'm playing Evolve in my room against people on Xbox Live, my experience is so different than if I'm playing me and Gabe and Max and my brother playing it, or even more different if we're in a tournament setting. So it's like, even with The Order, like if you play The Order in bed on a 60-inch TV like I did, that experience I think is going to be enhanced instead of like in an office on a 27-inch monitor. And it's like, how can you then further? I mean, maybe Max, this is where you said you don't like review scores.
Yeah, you're moving off Evolve though. I want to give a shout out to dude that played with us, Casey. I believe his name. He had like
Casey
3
Jones?
I wish.
The mask and the sticks and everything.
Like, so I don't know.
Lost.
I don't know his Twitter account, but like he was like a really like nice dude. Like he listens to the podcast and he said,
Really?
yeah,
Awesome.
he's a fan of the
Casey.
show, and we needed another person. He came and we filled in. Does Jake have a Twitter account, Zach?
Jake doesn't, but shout out to KCL. I mean, it's really nice to find like people that are on Xbox Live or on the internet that are just like class acts. And the guy's a listener, he's a fan of the podcast, and it was like he stepped up big and helped us out, and it was super fun
Awesome.
to play with somebody that
There you
like
go. There's a positive thing.
exactly.
Yeah.
He was like
On that.
the first couple of rounds he wasn't talking, and we were like, Casey, like it's okay to talk. He's like, oh, I feel like I'm listening to the podcast, so like I'm just in that mode of like not talking to you guys.
And the reason I asked about Jake's Twitter account, I was gonna say everybody go tweet at Jake. It's all your fault. Hashtag Chappy tournament.
Do we have an update on last week? Did people tweet at
yes.
GameRide?
He got a lot, and he started getting real confused. But he
Yeah, he did.
suspected me. I don't know why. He did.
All right. So let's do it again. I'm sorry, Scott. Everybody just tweet at Scott. It's a long hashtag, but just hashtag Have you played Zelda yet? Just tweet him that
Oh, how about we just make it hashtag Zelda ?
Sure. All right. There you go. That's better.
So
Okay.
tweet at GameRide Army, and you're gonna tweet him hashtag Zelda ?
Yeah. All right. Do that.
God.
Please do that, and maybe we can get him back on the show for like a little bit. I know he wants nothing to do with us.
We want him to talk about Nintendo whenever when Splatoon comes out. He's on the show.
Yeah.
I'm gonna drive you guys somewhere very special to my heart. So you hop in the car, and we are going to Hype City.
Road trip.
We're going to Hype City, where
Oh
we
man.
get to talk about our most anticipated game as of right now. Lots of good stuff has been discussed, but where are your starry eyes set this week?
Batman.
TBS Prime, go ahead.
Batman. Like that trailer, man. Like my hype levels have gone at an all-time high for Batman.
They're over 9 times.
There you go. Good callback to Dragon Ball. But I just really want Batman to come out. I can't wait. June cannot come soon enough, and I really hope they don't push it back. So
They're not pushing it back.
I don't think so either. But Zach has me paranoid.
I am gonna parachute into Rockstar Studios. I'll fly in. I'll be like, "You're not pushing this back, guys. We're getting this game."
Yeah, man. All that Legos, Lego money, man. We gotta give it to them. Have them put.
Well,
this game
they
out.
make probably just as
No,
much.
I
if
was
not more.
joking. As soon as I.
I'm pretty sure that because didn't WB come out and say that their games do as good as their movies, like those games, the Arkham City games.
Yeah.
So
So that's what I'm sitting at. Batman Arkham Knight is my most hyped
and
game.
of course you're
currently.
probably hyped for Resident Evil Revelations Episode 2, right?
Yeah, but that I'm getting it next week. So
So that's what I'm saying.
I really want to play it. That I'm more curious just to see if this one is as good, if not better than.
I am hyped for honestly now, like because this whole time as we were talking, I've been watching more ScreamRide.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I have a feeling like it's gonna be so much fun.
Yeah,
It looks such a funny game.
I'm
So
telling you that will be your jam. The gameplay is just.
That's what I'm excited for. But of course, as I've said last week, the week before that, I'm Batman. So.
All right. What are you sitting on, Zach?
I gotta say, like the
chair.
architecture here. Yeah. The architecture in Hype City is like impressive. Like there's just so much shine. There's so much glass and just goodness. I'm gonna be pretty obvious and say that I'm most excited for the new Evolve content. I'm really curious to see as that game expands I don't know how far it's going to expand, but if we're getting in MOBA territory where all of a sudden there's 20, like, how is that going to differentiate the game? How are the possibilities going to evolve? And
Evolve.
will it get to the point where it sort of cleanses itself of the repetitive labels that have been thrown on it? I know that's not a specific game. Last week I said Witcher 3. This week I don't want to say Batman because you guys all say Batman. So instead,
Why would you not want to say
Why
Batman?
can't we just be unanimous and say Batman?
I gotta be different. I'm gonna say that I'm really hyped for
Batman.
He's
Really?
hyped for Lego Jurassic World.
I'm hyped for Splatoon because I get to play it again in a week, and
What?
I'm hoping that they
Why?
bring a different demo. It's gonna be at PAX East. Nintendo's
Oh,
back at
okay.
PAX East. I'm heading to Boston.
So you guys could meet the Can't Stop Playing
yeah.
podcast. Zach's going to be hosting his own panel.
Did we
at
check if that was
the,
taken on iTunes?
It's not taking. We're good.
He's
All
going to
right.
be hosting it at the local McDonald's. It'll be an interesting panel.
Free amiibos for everyone.
Whoa, dude! You should have brought us.
I went to
onto
Best
yourself.
Buy. I went to Best Buy. I bought an Elgato because I didn't have one, and streaming with the Hauppauge is a nightmare.
Did
So-
you buy the 60, the new one? Or?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, the 60. And I'm like, man, maybe Mega Man's here. I said, man, Best Buy's not super popular, right?
And there's a guy there dressed up as Mega Man. He's like, I am here.
Now, so I went to the Amiibo section, and it was wiped clean. And there was like,
It's always
one,
wiped clean.
there was one Mario, there was two Pikachus, and there was like one Diddy Kong, and that was it.
Pikachu's getting rare, so you might want to get on that.
Yeah, man, I can't believe how well these things are selling.
The problem with the Amiibos is that it's like once you buy one, that's it. Like,
yeah,
You're
and that's my
Yeah.
thing. I don't want to have them all,
Because
but
look at Zach. He caught them all. You see that?
I completed my
I have
collection.
I
I
have
don't
a
even know
similar
why.
thing to Zach. Like, I have a lot of them. I'm missing, like, the more rare ones. I don't have a Rosalina, and I don't have a Mega Man, but I got Pit, I got Day-to-Day, and I've had all the other waves
You
already.
guys think that these?
Wait, Day? Is that how you say his name?
Yeah.
Day-to-Day. Yeah,
So
Day-to-day.
weird.
He called him King DDD.
Me too.
Really? It's Day-to-day.
Day?
Day-to-day.
Why was it always on the Kirby cartoon? He was always DDD.
I might be saying it wrong. Keep in mind, I'm from Texas. We do everything wrong over here. No,
Yes.
but
You think the amiibos have value in 10 years? You don't think like a collection of sealed amiibos?
Oh, yeah, like that. Yeah, of course. Like in
Like-
that
wait,
regard, yeah,
hold on.
it's
Is it not Day-to-day?
Oh God.
a collectible.
Wait, is it DDD and I'm wrong?
I think I say it DDD, but I'm pretty sure that you're right that it's
It's Day-to-day.
Day. I'm looking up right now. We're googling King Day-to-day pronunciation. I mean, I don't know if there's an
I've
official.
always said King DDD. And
Who
I
said that?
can swear that that's what they called him on the Kirby cartoon. But then again, that was a Hebrew dub, so
Yeah. Because if it was DDD, then why wouldn't it be DIDIDI? It's not. It's DE.
because that's weird spelling.
It's DDD. This is Day-to-day.
Ladies and gentlemen, next week we will be debating whether it's Kirby or Kirby.
And while
Oh, no,
Zach,
sorry, no, Mario and Mario.
I think it's Mario,
Okay.
Mario, Ryu. You know,
all
like
right,
what?
we can agree to that.
Tomato,
But
tomato, potato, potato.
I know we already went to Hype City.
Yes, I
And
did.
that's sort of our final destination on this roller coaster of a podcast.
My God, so many.
Yeah, go by ScreamRide, guys. But I wanted to touch on two other things really, really quickly. All right.
Okay.
So for our hardcore PC people, Homeworld Remastered. Man, that game is tough to like learn, but once you do, it's a blast. The story, I had no idea. The story in that is actually really, really good. It looks so much better compared to the old one. I barely played the old one. I think I played it at a friend's house once, but this is really, really, really remastered. This is completely redone, and it's a blast. So
That's what it's called. It's called Homeworld. Really, really, really remastered.
yeah,
edition.
but because then you have like Metro, like the remastered ones, and like Tomb Raider, like yeah, they look a little bit better, but not really. This is like super redone. The other one I wanted to touch on just a little bit. I can't talk about it a whole bunch yet because it's not out till March 3rd. Is a White Knight. Like stylistically, that game is sort of jarring at first to get used to the whole that black and white thing. But the story's interesting. I haven't played a whole lot.
What kind of game is it?
It's a horror like game. It not horror like Resident Evil horror, but it's a noir style. It's a noir type story. You start off as some guy, you get hurt by some event that I don't want to spoil. It's not even a big deal, but yeah, and then you go into this mansion, and that's where I'm at right now. I haven't played a whole.
So it's not action; it's more just exploration story.
Yeah, exploration story so far. I have done zero combat. Maybe there is. I haven't played it. I've played like the first 40 minutes, but I think that's another interesting one, and I want people to check it out because the art style is so unique, and it hasn't been done like ever, really, not this way at least, and it's interesting. So I just wanted to give a quick little shout out to both those games, White Knight and Homeworld.
Well, to be fair, with White Knight, you could also give more next week, right? Because that's when it's out already.
Yeah, it's on next week. I can like talk about it fully.
Next week we got a lot of stuff. I think all of us are going to dip into ScreamRide. We'll have more Resident Evil, maybe a little Dragon Ball Z talk, and then some of these indie titles that are coming quickly. You guys got anything specific you're focusing on?
Oh wait, this is so dumb. I want to derail again. More ScreamRide stuff.
Why all the roller coaster puns, Gabe? You're killing me.
No, I'm sorry, and Max is gonna kill me. I want to change it from Batman to this game that nobody's gonna care about, and it's a dumb game.
We're in reverse. We're backing up to Hype City. Gabe already left, and he wants to go back.
Yeah.
Battlefield Hardline.
Oh God.
Wait, is that coming out?
It's not April. It's not April 1st, Gabe. The jokes stop here.
It's coming out like in a week and a half or something like that.
Why are you excited for this?
Okay, I'm not excited to play it. I'm excited.
Guys, you know, this is a bit of a flashback here. Guys, it's all about being positive, and you know, just looking.
God, why are you excited about this, Gabe? What's wrong with you? This is not April Fool's, man.
No, I'm more curious than anything because say what you will, Zach. The multiplayer beta. I've done a lot of these today. The beta was fun.
Fingers.
Yeah, the beta was fun in its own way. And I just really want to know what that story's going to be like. And they said that they put emphasis on it. We know what that means. You know, when the EA DICE says it. Like, it's not a whole lot. But it's coming out so soon. And I thought about it yesterday. I was looking at the release calendar. I'm like, oh, man, like, that's coming.
It's the 17th of March. And
yeah, that game is weird. It's been getting, like...
And that's why I'm excited. Like, it's
He went gold to them.
I'm surprised that Zach didn't bring up Codename Steam, because isn't that coming out?
Yeah, I mentioned that last week as sort of my backup to Witcher. That's why I didn't. But one note I did want to point out to listeners is that we are kind of working our butts off to gain more early access to games, so we have the opportunity to give you guys insights before they release, so we can give you, you know, our opinions, our thoughts, what we like and don't like, you know, help you out with purchases and stuff. So don't hate on us for having like the early access. We're honestly doing more networking than we've done before to try to make this podcast a place where you can get a lot of good insight even for things that haven't released yet. So hopefully Battlefield Hardline will be another one of those that we can give you guys the goods before it's actually in stores.
Yeah, and I feel super good about the fact that we were able to talk about ScreamRide and the way that we were able to, and we painted it in a positive light, and we're not this big like conglomerate. We're not IGN. So you can know that when we say that we're enjoying something, we really are, because we're not necessarily making a whole bunch of money off of this. So
we don't have reviews to link you to or anything like that. So it's just like like for the love of the game, basically.
Yeah, no hate on any other websites, right? But we're not doing clickbait stuff.
No.
Nothing like that. So wait, I forgot the name. What's the name of this podcast again? Can't Stop Playing, right? Is that it?
No, it's so memorable. Gabe forgot it within 2 hours.
Well, it's because we have all those other options that we were going to go with. And all right, so it is Can't Stop Playing, right?
Oh, Gabe.
All right, so hopefully Can't Stop Playing becomes a thing that people can go to.
A thing that you guys can't stop playing.
There you go.
It's a destination for fun. That's what we want to be. That's what games are about. And that is what we will continue to do next week as we dive into some of these titles more deeply. We'll return to Hype City. We will try our best to bring you the very best podcast we can. Make sure to get your questions in. Questions, comments, we want them in the comments. We'll open up a separate email soon. We're going to be on iTunes very soon. Heck, you may be listening to this episode on iTunes for all I know. And thank you for watching. Thank you for being a part of this podcast. Couldn't do what it does without your support and your ears and eyes.
We couldn't day what it does without you.
Gabe.
I thought my puns were bad. Gabe's giving me a run for my money.
Don't forget to hashtag Zelda @ Game Riot Army. Follow Max on Twitter at Blitzwinger. Follow Gabe at Volatile Gabe. Follow me at GhostRobo. Follow with our weekly antics. We will be back next week. I'll be heading to PAX and we'll be playing more games. It should be a good time. We've got a name. We've got an episode 0 in the bag, and we have a golden future going into the rest of the year. So thank you so much for watching. Max and Gabe, thanks for being here as always. We will see you guys next week. Until that time, thanks again. What could we say? Drink some lemonade? Oh, Max is rocking a Blastoise shirt that I really like.
Blue shell.
Why do people have to drink something?
Okay. Just
go eat some veggies.
Go play some games. Go ride some roller coasters. Go have a great week, and we are out of here.